What's going on? What's happening, everybody? Thank you guys for tuning in once again. Happy Saturday to everybody. Hopefully, everybody's doing well. It's another beautiful Saturday to be alive, to wake up, to be here, to talk to you guys. Hopefully, everybody's doing good and there's no issues. Wishing you guys all the best. um, Let me shout out to a couple people. As always, I appreciate y'all for rocking with me. Thank you. Let me see here. Now, I want to give a shout out to my guy, Walter Blackman Jr. As always, appreciate you. I saw that you put a comment in early before the show even started. Always appreciate you, man. Thank you. Finesseful J, appreciate you. Thank you. David L is in the building. Let me see here. Sherwin is in the building. Keith Turner is here. JJ's here. Ron Sarmiento's in the building. Big Task at Hand is here. Let me see. Angel Torres is in the building. The Green Goblin is here. J Tap is in the building. Appreciate y'all. D's World of Hoops is in the building. What's going on, brother? If y'all haven't checked out D's World of Hoops, please do so. The show, the content, the atmosphere, it's popping, it's comfortable. It allows you guys to really be interactive and a part of the experience. That's his main goal. So definitely, salute to him. Check out his platform, his show, and support because he has you guys in mind. Salute to Illmatics. Appreciate you. Almighty Finesse is in the building. What's good? Building Blocks. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you. Oh, yeah. We went all fancy with the iced coffee today. Yeah. Taste the hint of peppermint mocha. Reminds me back in my days when I used to scale the Adirondacks. No, not really. I'm just joking. No, but it is peppermint mocha, but that's besides the point. Hey, listen, I like my fancy coffee. Don't judge me. All right. Salute to William Turnbull. Appreciate you. Yeah. All right. So guys, we know it's a slow news time right now. There's been some stuff that's not taking place, that's not happening. Right now the news is kind of, it's all been baseball stuff. All what's going on, the Mets and Yankees, Mets sweeping that little 2-game series, by the way, but I'm sorry to throw that out there, but that's not the point. The point is right now is like a tough time for basketball fans to get any like real basketball news outside of some workouts and stuff like that. Most of the free agency period, the signings that needed to happen, but there's still obviously some players out there. And then the other thing is, I wonder too, logistically, business wise, how everything correlates. You know what I mean? Like you have the free agency period when it drops, you got the summer league happening, you got NBA execs all taking vacations and stuff, and then slowly coming back now to their jobs and everything. And then I wonder, because this is big free agency period, not free agency period, trade period for Major League Baseball. And there's a lot of shakeups, a lot of different big moves that are starting to happen. So it makes me wonder, does the NBA kind of take a pause and take a chill pill to let baseball get the back pages and get that lead story? I'm just curious, you know what I mean? Because that's a whole nother level of business that we're not privy to, we're not involved in. And I just wonder about that because, there's a lot of baseball moves, stealing headlines and all that stuff. And baseball is actually being played right now. So I know even though there's some people that don't like baseball, baseball is still the hot ticket item. There's no basketball really being played at this moment except for pickup games and stuff. And the NBA game is definitely not happening. So I'm just curious about that. I'm not saying that's holding up any moves, guys. I'm just curious about it. Yeah, I just think that's interesting. You know, the time wise and how they move. You never know. Let's see. Shout out to Infamous New King. Appreciate you. Salute to Almighty Finesse. Oh, once again, I said that already. My bad, bro, but you get 2 shout outs. Look at you. Shout out to Cash Out James. Shout out to Ajay. What's good, man? What's good? Appreciate you. Yep. Okay, I think I got everybody for now. Thank you guys once again. Happy Saturday to y'all. Another day, being able to be blessed and wake up. I mean, the world is not great, but I'd rather be alive in the world than not. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. Savage NYC, what's good? Appreciate you. Salute Walter Blackman, man. Thank you for the generous super chat, brother. I appreciate it. Once again, like I said, you don't have to do that, but I thank you for helping contribute to what we got going on. And you know, I do, when I'm not lying when I tell you we are trying to put it back into the show. I'm kind of like in the back of my mind, like I'm over here, corner of my eye, looking at my internet levels here. I just paid for another 200 megs. I'm kind of taking it slow, guys, but another 200 megs to kind of get me a little bit better juice and hopefully a more consistent signal. However, I do have to get over to the cable place and switch out my router, because apparently the router is only allowing me to get 100 of the 200. I got to switch to a new router that gives me more usage, more levels, so I can get my full 200 that I'm paying for. I just did it like 2 days ago, so I'm testing out to see how it looks. I don't see my little meter. If you guys, I know I'm talking gibberish to you guys, but when you're on StreamYard and doing this, there's a little meter that shows you how your strength signal is, and my meter be going up and down. But today I saw it a little bit. It looks like it's holding steady. I hope it is. I hope that, you know, the point is to make the experience a little better, and eventually I'll get to getting a gig of bandwidth. But you know, that's like another little change. You know, I'm not there yet. Yeah, man. Yeah, but I definitely appreciate you guys. No, Sherwin, I actually have James Dolan's company, Spectrum. Yeah, and I can't change. They have a monopoly in my area, so it's either going to work or it's not going to work. All right, guys. So you know what? Let's do this. Let me get the intro out there. Once again, thank you for the generous super chat, Walter Blackman. Thank you for rocking with us always. You know, setting your schedule so that when you're at work, you have us on in the background. I definitely appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much. What I'm gonna do is hit the intro, guys, while I sip some of this iced coffee, and then we'll be back and we'll get into things. I think that sounds like a plan. What you guys think? Yeah. Okay. Good. All right, be right back. That's good. All right. Let's get it cracking. So, as I was saying, it's definitely a slow moving time right now, but that doesn't mean that it's a negative, guys. I know people are starting to trip a little bit, thinking like, what the hell's going on? You know, thinking that nothing's going to happen the way you expect it to happen. But I'm here to say that just because nothing's moving right now doesn't mean it won't move. Right now, you're getting the reports out that the Knicks and the Utah Jazz haven't spoken in about 2 weeks. So the trade talks have stalled. Listen, we don't know exactly what's going on between the two teams, what they've talked about, what has been said. If that is the case, what it appears to be is that the Knicks have made their offer. Danny Ainge has the offer in front of him. He has a choice of whether that offer is going to work or not. But like any businessman would do, he's doing his due diligence. He's checking out to see what else is out there, what makes sense, for his team and what he's trying to get accomplished. But that doesn't mean that everything is over. It just means that we're at a point where Danny Ainge is trying to, make sure his market is as good as it can be. He's putting out feelers and all these different things, and there's reports coming out. Charlotte's in the mix, the Wizards are in the mix. We'll see. Let me talk about it a little bit more. Let me get D in here.
What's good, bro?
Hey man, another Saturday. Happy to be awoke.
I hear you, bro. I do that every day.
Shout out to Lewis Hedges. I see you. Appreciate you, man. So I'm just talking about how this whole and shout out to Wayne Peterson. Appreciate you.
Shout out
this
to
whole
Wayne.
this whole thing, the posturing, everything that's happening, it's all a part of the mix. Now, don't get me wrong. Anything can happen. Could this deal fall apart and Donovan get moved somewhere else? Yeah, of course. Anything can happen. But the point is, we're at a situation where, and like I said, right now I'm feeling good about what's happening. I feel confident in the Knicks situation because I think that they're trying to show us, which is something we haven't seen, that they are taking a position and they're staying to that position. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I don't mind that. I know, don't get me wrong. Me personally, I'm all bought into this Donovan thing, so I do want it to happen. I want it to happen the right way, but I want it to happen. But if it doesn't happen, then it doesn't happen. I mean, that's all we can do. You put it out there, and you try not to get fleeced. You try to get the guy you want, and not have Ainge, take you over the coals.
Oh yeah, you don't want to be on the receiving end of that.
Yeah, you don't.
No. Just real quick. So first of all, we got 54 watching and not even 20 likes. So that's the first thing that has to be taken over. So guys, please hit that like button. Number two, Ron, I just came out with a video. I started my college assessment of freshmen already. And I just came out with a video of Jarris Walker out of IMG Academy. He's a 5-star commit for the University of Houston. He will be coached by Kelvin Sampson. I'm very high on him. I think he's got a very unique skill set for 6'8", 235. And I just came out with a video with that, so make sure you guys check that out. And Ron, if you don't mind, if I could put that in the chat.
Yeah, feel free.
Really appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, appreciate that. But to answer about Donovan, you know my stance. I smiled and I was rejoiced when I read that because it didn't make sense. It felt too rushed. It felt like you were just barreling into something when, if that was the thing, you could have configured it a lot better and kind of just build the team around Donovan instead of kind of having like this hodgepodge of different pieces around and trying to blend it and make it work. It's forced. Whenever you force things, it never works. It was a great decision on Leon Rose for not going for the fleece. That's just another thing now of small steps that they've made in this offseason that I like. Jalen Brunson signing, the Isaiah Hartenstein signing. That the fact that they didn't fold to these talks, because how many old Knick regimes would have folded right into this, bro? Like the first week.
instantly.
So I'm happy, and I'm happy to see that things are starting to head towards the right direction. Of course, they still have plugs that they need to hold. Holes that they need to plug into the roster and stuff like that. So it's interesting to see how that goes. But my stock is in on Jalen, and like I said, he's not a tier 1 superstar, but I think he's a tier 1 leader, and I think he's a tier 1 example and culture setter. And I think that's needed first before you start competing at a high level.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with that. I definitely was very happy with the signing of Jalen Brunson, and I was looking forward to it for quite some time. Even with all of the the speculation about what he could bring to the Knicks team and his height and everything, I understand all of that, but what he showed me in that playoffs, I mean, the way he was going, it sounds wild, like, one experience will not cloud your judgment, but have you make a judgment on a player. But it really was big to me because at that time, I just never seen somebody do that to Chris Paul. And I was just really surprised at how, assertive he was, not backing down, and basically helping to take this guy out of the series. And I realized that, I forgot that point when I was doing the NBA report with John the other day. I was talking about the Phoenix Suns, and one of the things I failed to mention was the fact that Chris Paul was really the difference maker. Phoenix was always a decent team, but they never were that type of upper echelon team that could go to the next level because they didn't have that orchestrator. When Paul went in there, he changed those things around. And so you see when they locked down Chris Paul, they weren't the same team. They reverted back to the old Phoenix Suns. And that old Phoenix Suns team can't get it done. Paul really makes a difference. Now, if you bring somebody else in, that's another story, but they really haven't changed that roster. It's a good team, good defensively, but Chris Paul is the difference maker that drives that offensive engine. So, yeah. Anyway, I know, guys, that's a little sidebar thing, but I just want to throw that out because I remember I was trying to say that and I forgot to say it. Dang it. Yeah, but
just real quick, I want to give a special shout out to where's he at? To Kerry Cooper. Special shout out to Kerry Cooper. He was the first to donate to the Cash App for the D's World of Hoops channel. And I just wanted to shout him out for him being the first and also to contributing and investing to what we're doing there. And because it's not for me, it's for y'all. So I appreciate that, Kerry. Just wanted to shout you out.
That's dope. So, salute, Kerry. Appreciate that as well from my end because I think Kerry, I remember when Kerry started jumping in over here, and he's been pretty loyal and showing up all the time to the shows. And listen, I appreciate the viewership, man. These guys are great. Shout out to Bricks Nation. Appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in as always. And yeah, it was cool to see Bricks Nation. I think Bricks Nation was on with Andy on Andy's show, which was a hot one yesterday. Shout out to Bricks Nation. And also shout out to Illmatic. That was my first time seeing Illmatic yesterday too, and hearing his voice. That was dope. Shout out to
Illmatic.
Salute to Tiffin Smith. Appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in, showing love. Parrish Duggar, always a pleasure to have you, brother. Miguel P is in the building. Brahim is in the building. White Falcon is in the building, and my guy Worldwide L is in the building. Yo, what White Falcon, man? You've been kind of quiet lately. I've noticed I haven't seen you as much. You usually popping up everywhere, but you taking a little, you on a hiatus. It's good to see you back in here though. And listen, like I told you, I know that I used to get on you about the Paul, was it Paul George? Yeah. You might need to bring that back, man. The Knicks could still use Paul George. And if they are going to trade Julius, I'll take Paul George over Julius any day. Just saying.
No doubt about that.
Yeah, man. So, Yeah, I'm with you on that, brother. I understand where you're going with it. And shout out to DJ Space Ghost, and shout out to my guy Marvin's perspective from the other side in the building. Good to see you, Marvin.
It's good, man.
Oh, Kerry Cox. Salute, Kerry.
What's up, Kerry?
So
Big Taz asked a very good question here. He says the question is, how far can Jalen Brunson take the Knicks? He's not your number one guy. Move on a championship team, but there's other intangibles that he brings that are far more important at this point in time, and you could still have the time to build that team around him, and especially if you keep the team as is with the youth core there building with him, with your future draft picks and stuff like that. He might not have to be the guy.
That's a good point. I just think that, well, we got to see how the chemistry works and how the team gels, right? But I really think that you guys will be very surprised at how much of a difference it'll seem like Jalen Brunson makes. And I'm not saying it's going to be all attributed to Jalen Brunson. I think part of it that will help the situation is Thibodeau playing the right guys this time around, understanding his minute distribution, and the removal of certain pieces in certain positions, like having Alec Burks at the point guard. Now you have a better option at point guard. Even if we had Quickly at point guard, I think it's a better option than Alec Burks, in my opinion. But
no doubt,
that to me is already going to be a big deal. That's going to help. But Jalen Brunson is better, obviously, so that should definitely help there. The other thing is, you won't have that constant distraction that we had last year, the underlying distraction between whatever the hell was going on with Julius and the Kemba Walker signing and how the Knicks were rolling that out and understanding which team to play, then benching Kemba and like all that stuff. That part is gone. That's good. I think the other thing is you're adding another option. Whether or not he was a point guard or not, the fact that he's a point guard is great. That's what we needed. But Jalen Brunson is also another scoring option, right? And he scores pretty much efficiently. That's another good positive thing that you're introducing into the offensive lineup that should really help RJ and Julius. A lot of what you saw last year with RJ and Julius is that they have to get into this rhythm and get their shots up. And then when you had nobody else that was really reliable scoring, they were chucking up shots. Jalen is supposed to be a stabilizer. It's the same thing we got from Derrick Rose in the fourth seed season. That's how important he was to the team. A healthy Derrick Rose, when we had ups and downs, Derrick was the stabilizer. When there was a 2-game losing streak, Derrick played really good in that third game. We didn't lose in that season. If I'm not mistaken, I don't know how many losing streaks we went on. I don't think we lost. I think maybe we lost 4 games once throughout the season, and then most of the streaks were like 2 games here, 2 games there, but we never really went on big losing streaks because having consistent play and having somebody that stabilizes stuff for the Knicks was big. And that's what I think Jalen can bring. Now, the flip side is if the Donovan Mitchell trade doesn't happen, you can go to war with this team. If we get what we expect from Jalen Brunson, and then we get a somewhat healthy Derrick Rose. I mean, people are writing Derrick off right now, and I understand why. I get it. He's older, another year older, by the way, and then obviously still dealing with the injury stuff. But if Derrick can come back and play at like 70%, that helps. This Knicks team is going to be a lot. And then you still got Quickly behind him, learning and growing and being in the, a little bit of the point guard role, but probably a little bit more of the off guard role. It's going to be interesting. And that's what I want to go through a little roster breakdown in a little bit, because when I was talking with John the other day when we were doing the NBA report, he had threw out the starting five, and then he went to the bench. And then we were trying to figure out, well, where are the minutes going to come for some of these players on the bench? And then when he threw those 10 players out, we were like, well, we know Tibbs plays 8. We're lucky if we see 9. And then we didn't even talk about quickly. Jericho wasn't mentioned. Like, I'm like, wow, how is this going to work once again? And this is why, see, this is probably one of the other reasons why I'm really thinking that a trade has to happen. It doesn't have to be the Donovan trade, but I still kind of feel like we got a lot of players on this team that aren't going to get the playing time that, you know, they might need.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see, man. When we get into that, D, I want to get your thoughts on it because it's interesting. I was kind of surprised because I hadn't thought about it. We've been so caught in the mix of the Jalen move and then now Donovan. I wasn't actually thinking about I'm only thinking about, hey, we still got 2 roster spots we need to fill. But
yeah. You know, to be real with you, you know, and we could get into it right now. Why not? It's only July. Why not?
Yeah.
Tom, I think the only guy on this team that's deserved of a consistent 32, 33, 34 minutes is your point guard, Jalen Brunson, right now. I think with everybody else, they're on a trial by error, test trial type of thing because the team is so deep. And Tom Thibodeau has to utilize the depth this year. He has to, bro. Okay, that's a mandate that has to come from upstairs. So if Julius is not, he needs to split those minutes with Obi. If Mitch is not up to par, he needs to split those minutes with Hartenstein. If RJ Barrett is struggling, Quentin Grimes and Cam got to get inside those minutes too. It's going to have to be like that. And it's going to have to be who, you know, what rotations are best served. Nothing should be locked in at the beginning of the season at all. It should be a work in progress throughout the whole season, trying different combinations, stuff like that. This is, and I think it will, because like I said, with Tom, he acquiesces to his stars. He's going to acquiesce to Jalen Brunson. And I just don't see the same old Tom Thibodeau stuff going on this year. I really don't. And I'm not a big Tom Thibodeau fan. I think with everything on the line, you making this signing, you bringing in your guy, your bloodline to the family, I just feel like there's going to be a lot of acquiescing going on. And I think it's going to be like, okay, Jalen, you do your thing. And I think that's going to be a good thing. So I'm not too worried this year. I actually think the minutes will be split. These guys are in their 3rd years, bro. They have to start playing. RJ Barrett's in his 4th year. He's going to play. He's going to get the fair chance. So I think that's how that cookie crumbles.
Hey man, you may be right. I do think that I don't know if he'll get those minutes. I haven't looked at as far as if that works for him, but I do agree that if there's anybody who should be getting the most minutes, it's your point guard, Jalen Brunson. I haven't looked at how many minutes he averages. I'm so busy looking at
32 last year.
32. Okay, so yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
That makes sense. That's the guy. I mean, that's the guy you want out there as much as possible because you need some stability. And like
I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was going to say, and then if you get anything from Derrick Rose, if he's still here, that's gravy.
Oh, of course. And I think it's a high possibility of that because as Zagala said, he said with Brunson, Rose only needs to play like 13, 15 minutes per, which can help in keeping him healthy. He's 100% right.
That's a good point. That's the great point. And that's another thing. Yeah, Brunson helps Derrick Rose out a lot and does give that stability to the Knicks as far as minutes eating up too, because that's another problem we had with Kemba. You brought in 2 guys. I mean, not you brought in, but Derrick Rose was already here. And then you bring another guy in, Kemba, who is a little iffy on the minute usage and how he can be used. So we haven't been in this situation. So this is different.
Yeah. Can you highlight Big Taz's question? It says, speaking of RJ Barrett.
Oh, I see it.
Says, speaking of RJ Barrett, question, what do you think will happen with RJ Barrett this 4th season? So do you want the I'm going to bet the whole house answer or what it's going to be, or you want to kick it around? If I had to bet the whole house, I think 4th years are very instrumental for players in their contract. And since Duke, RJ's had the habit of starting off slow. Point blank. If he does that this year, he will be murdered. Okay? And of course, I mean that playfully. But he will be barbecued. Okay? And he will be looked at. People will be like, where's Cam? Where's Grimes? That's what you're going to hear if he starts off to that slow start. If he has games where he's shooting 7 to 21 or something like that, like he did last year. So I think the big thing with him is that I can't predict what he's going to do. But based on what I've seen and what could happen, I'm a little worried for RJ. And I think that he's going to have to improve in a lot of areas. The only thing that helps him a bit this year is, of course, Jalen Brunson. It takes the pressure off handling the basketball, setting up the offense, going against 3 guys, stuff like that. So it does alleviate that pressure. The question becomes, can RJ get in his bag and consistently take his one-on-one guy? I mean, his guy one-on-one. Can he consistently get into a mid-range? Can he consistently hit a corner 3? It's all about consistency and efficiency with RJ Barrett. So even if he's averaging lower than 20, he say he's at 17 or 18, but he's highly efficient, then he's going to get a bag. And it's that simple. So I'm not worried about how many points he's scoring this year. I'm worried about how consistent and efficient he is. And hopefully he's done something about that this summer.
That makes sense. I agree with that too. And I do have that feeling that RJ is going to have an incredible season. I don't know why that is, that I'm so confident that that's going to happen. But I do think that the addition of Jalen Brunson is going to be huge on a lot of the guys on this team. I mean, because let's not forget, you're thrusting guys into a position of number ones, and they're not number ones, and they had to do that last year. It's just a flip-flop of who's going to be the guy to take their shot at this point, but they're not number ones yet. RJ is and may never be number ones, but the point is that's the position they were in. And now, even though Jalen Brunson is not a number one himself, he's a point guard. And it's just something different about a point guard. A point guard is like the quarterback of your team. And they don't have to be number ones as long as they can be in control and make smart decisions. And that is where Jalen fits a role that, these guys, as much as you want them to succeed in, it's very tough for them. RJ, I think, has a very good court vision. He sees things that you would think other guys on the team would see in that position that haven't really done it. He was the one getting the ball down low to Mitch in certain situations, commanding the double team, wrapping the ball around, getting open looks for Mitch, getting open looks for Taj Gibson, kicking the ball out when he had the ball. Now, the problem is RJ is just not, the most efficient passer. He was a little herky-jerky. Some of those passes were a little wild. He had some turnovers, trying to do a little too much. And he can improve on that, but currently he's not the best at it. And that's why because if RJ was better at that, who knows? RJ might be that combo type point guard for the Knicks, and Jalen Brunson may not have even been the person they went after if he was that good at it. But that's not the case. He has the idea, but it's just he can't orchestrate it the way in which you would like, that you would think is efficient enough to have him be that answer for you. But I do think that him being here, being around, is definitely, meaning Jalen, is definitely going to help RJ in those situations. One less thing he's got to worry about. One less thing that we got to worry about with Julius, because I think they're going to still try to use Julius in situations that you've seen him in before, because that's his comfort level. Hopefully, it'll be better ball management throughout the course of a possession. It won't be give the ball to Julius with 5 seconds left on the shot clock. They're coming to double team him. Then he's got to figure out how to jack it up or pass the ball out. It's smart usage. And then that's all what's going to come out of, training camp and practice. And they're going to figure out what's the best way to do things. Also, I'm interested to see if they tweak this offensive system. If having Jalen here brings a little of that Dallas offensive system over. See, because Dallas doesn't have necessarily a bad offensive system. They just didn't have a lot of efficient offensive pieces.
Yeah.
So maybe he can bring a little twist on what they're doing here, and the engine can start running a little better.
And also that's a great point. And I also think too the bringing in of Rick Brunson, I think helps with that because I'm going to drop some videos very soon on probably the end of the month or beginning of August of Tom Thibodeau, how stagnant the offense looks sometimes, and that how, for example, if he would do a horn set, he would do like a horn's fist, right? I know that's alien to you guys, but if he does like a horn's fist, for example, he wouldn't fully explore the options. That he did that with the pistol, he did that with forwards of the triangle, he did that with forms of his pin down actions. Like he didn't fully explore them, and he needs help with that. Definitely, I think with Jalen here, it gives you the opportunity to explore them now because not only is he going to be your best player, he's also most likely going to be your closer, and he's also going to be your offensive initiator as well. So Jalen has his hands full, and I think he's ready for the task.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think Jalen is the right guy for the job, and I think everybody's going to be happy with him. And hopefully, we can put that stuff to rest about Jalen this, Jalen that. You'll see how good Jalen is and how he helps the team. Let me put this up real quick. Touch on that while we're here.
Yep.
Shout out, salute to Mark Butler. He said, "Okay, how about RJ for Jalen Brown?" Listen, in a different world where Boston is in a different situation and things aren't what they would like, and they're not a championship contender, then a Jalen for RJ type of switch would be very interesting. It wouldn't be enough. Jalen's a much better player right now than RJ is. I know that it's the similarities are there if you look at numbers, but Jalen's more efficient currently on the offensive end, and the defense. I mean, you can't compare the two on the defensive end. Jalen is a very good defensive player. RJ can be, but he hasn't shown that he's a Jalen Brown type of defender yet. So Jalen Brown is just a better commodity, and you'd have to give up RJ and something else to try to get that trade done. Now, currently, because we know Boston is a championship contender, they would never trade Jalen Brown for RJ Barrett because it doesn't help what they're doing. Jalen Brown is a much better player. They're trying to get even better. Like they're basically trying to say, we want the championship. What gives us the best chance to almost guarantee it? Not that it's guaranteed. You got to play it out. But that's why they're looking. I mean, that's why the whole thing, you're not talking about, they didn't say, let's trade Jalen Brown to bring another star who's a little better than him. They said they were trying to trade Jalen Brown for Kevin Durant. I mean, they're going for it all here. So, yeah, I mean, I would love it, Mark Butler, believe me. But yeah, Boston ain't looking at that. That's haha. Okay, who else is? You know what I mean?
Right.
It is what it is.
Just real quick on that. So I had dropped a video a couple of days ago about what decision would I make, and I looked at the numbers. I also kept in mind some very vital points. One was that Brad Stevens is the pupil, the student of the fleece master, Danny Ainge. Okay? Danny Ainge didn't get fired from that spot. I don't care what anybody says. He gave that spot to Brad Stevens. Okay? Bottom line. All right? He is the fleece master, and he is the student of the fleece master. I'm not doing any dealings with Brad Stevens concerning commodity like Jalen Brown. You will have a trade package that will look like a Donovan Mitchell trade package. And I don't think Jalen Brown is that type of guy. I actually have him a tier below Donovan Mitchell. I looked at his numbers during the playoffs. His defensive numbers went down. And that worried me a bit because I said, wait, hold on a second. Wouldn't your defensive numbers go up in the playoffs because you're seeing the same team? It's 6-7 game series. You have all that time in the field room to readjust and do whatever. And when he was on the court, his defensive numbers went down. I was a little worried about that. Also, inside the finals too, and in the playoffs too, in pinches, we saw the high turnover usage. Okay, and we saw just him not making sound decisions like that. The great thing is that he's only 25, 26 years old. Okay, he's got plenty of time to grow, and I think he's going to grow just fine. Just right Now, I would not be interested in that whatsoever. For that, I might as well just wait to 2024.
I hear you. I understand where you're coming from. Now, I will say that part of me does think that maybe his defensive number, and this is, I'm going to correlate this to somebody else. I've done it in the past, so you see where I'm going. Some of his defensive numbers going down might be because of his the offensive effort that he had to put out there. Because I think one thing that we noticed as people just watching the game, it was pretty surprising to see how much Jason Tatum was struggling. And I felt like Jalen Brown was thrust into the situation of being in a bigger offensive role. He's always, the 1-2, but I mean, come on, when we look at with the Boston Celtics, he's the Robin to Jason Tatum's Batman, and they had Batman on lock. So Jalen was actually, there was points where his ball usage was extremely high. He was taking a lot of shots. Now, he was efficient with it. He was putting them in good positions to stay in games. I just feel like he was being used a little bit more on the offensive end, and that might have kind of hurt him defensively. And I'm not saying that, that still makes up for the fact that his numbers were down, because he definitely should have been playing that same type of defense that they're used to getting from him. But I do think that might have had a little something to do with it. And I say that because I throw RJ a little bit of bail, a little bit with this past season. I feel like RJ is a much better defender than he showed. But the fact that he was being used so much on the offensive end, because our roster was so in flux, things were not happening. This guy's taking a 20. There was games where RJ took like 25 shots. It was something crazy like that. Like when he's doing stuff like that and working hard on the offense, plus we know that RJ is like a bull. He's got that type of energy that he was expending. I think it's expending. Yeah. That type of energy that he was expending on the offensive end really takes something out of you on the defensive end. And I was going back and forth with people before, because they were like, I wasn't saying RJ's a bad defender, but he didn't show how good of a defensive player he can be, because maybe he was tired. I saw him doing a couple of olays out there on the baseline. People were cutting back door. He was lost. And it's not because he doesn't know what to do. I just think it's because he was tired and he was taking his little breaks. So yeah, that's what I was saying, like with regards to that. But I do agree that, you look at that, you can see that there was a little drop off and decline in his numbers.
Well, another thing too is that Jason Tatum was taking the premier perimeter guys in that series, in the series, bro. I'm just saying. Okay, so that's something else that I keep in mind as well. And I'll get a little pushback for this Jalen Brown stuff, which is fine. That's no problem. My question to you guys is that you were willing to get Donovan Mitchell for 4 or 5 first-round picks and a good portion of the young core. Would you do the same for Jalen Brown? Would you give up 5 or 6 first-rounders and give up a Quickly, a Grimes, possibly a Toppin? Would you guys do that? I wouldn't.
No, I wouldn't do it either. But I would give them a similar type package, in that I would give them what it would take to get Jalen Brown, but I wouldn't give them the Donovan Mitchell package. And I'd be okay with that. I'm like, all right.
So Rod, right? So and that light,
I see where you're going though.
Now I can't put them in the same tier now,
right?
Because of course Jalen is better defensively, and that's without a doubt. Nobody would argue that, of course. But the offensive explosions are not the same between Donovan Mitchell and Jalen Brown.
No.
Just say
no.
So. So that's the end of that discussion.
Facts. That part is true. That is, listen. I think the problem is with all this time that we have as fans, and to look at what's going on, and it's not just from fans; it's from media too. I try not to watch too much of it, but it's still out there. The speculation and the waiting allows you to really look into these players, and you start to dissect them. But regardless of whether we know Donovan Mitchell is not that good on the defensive end and what he doesn't do there, offensively the dude is still a bucket. And he's not perfect. Sometimes he I've seen Donovan have games, and definitely in the playoffs when the intensity is a little tougher, where his shot is just not clicking, and he's struggling to kind of get things going. But one thing I will say that I did notice about Donovan is in a full game, and that has to do with his usage in the Utah system, but he could go stretches where nothing's falling, but by the end of the game, he still finishes around 20, 22 points because he's getting those shots up. He's getting to the basket. He has little hot stretches here and there. He's shooting from the free throw line. He's about 80% from the line. So he's still scoring in ways. And then when he's hot, that's a different story. Then you know he's going to get you 30 or maybe more, depending on how things are going. So that's a different level of offensive weaponry right there. That's that special thing that Jason Tatum has when when Jason Tatum's right, he can get you 40, 50 easily. Yeah. Donovan can do that too. And I'm not saying that Jalen can get you 40 or 50. We saw him hit the Knicks for 46 in that game, that season opener, but it's not the same. It's different. It's different. That's like that's a RJ Barrett scored 46. Like he was hot. Like for these other guys, it's just natural. They can just do it whenever. So let me just give another quick shout out to people. I think I said Jay Deals Direct. Salute to you, but I'm not sure if I did, so I'm gonna say it again because it just doesn't ring a bell for me. Salute to you, man. Thank you for being here. And if this is your first time, then appreciate you. Hopefully you love the show and you keep coming back. Zigzag Zigala is in the building, as we referenced before. Appreciate you. My guy Tat Face is in the building. Hope you're doing well, bro. Cormega is here. We survived 100 people's in the building. Jean Sherrill is in the building. Appreciate you. Or maybe that's Jean. I don't want to, disrespect the Jean thing. John. Dwayne Dennis is in the building. Nick Yak is in the building. John Talento is here. Margaret Edwards is in the building. Andrew K is in the building. DJ Cash is in the building. BTS Dance Studio. What's good? My guy Jay Boogie is in the building.
So Jay.
What's going on, brother? He said, I talked to Rakim. He said, guess. I didn't know the ledge because I was watching to know the ledge. Appreciate you, brother. Yeah, man. Thank you guys once again. Jet Life for Life. Appreciate you, brother. King Ribby in the building. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for being here. So, I'm trying to figure out something. It's going to take a little bit more time. I thought I was going to be able to do it for today's show, but it's going to be more of a deep dive.
Yeah.
I'm trying to look into, okay, Knicks don't get Donovan Mitchell. What's next? And I don't mean next like right now, but like throughout the course of the season, because I still do feel like the Knicks are going to want to. I just think that's the position they're in. They're still going to want to trade for a star. May not be that type of star. Maybe if the Donovan thing doesn't happen, they bring in somebody else who's more of a two-way player, who's even a better fit for the team. You never know, but I still feel like they're going to try to add some star power to this mix. And so I'm starting to kind of look at what might be out there, looking at other rosters, seeing who might be expendable, but is still a really good player. Maybe it's the contract issue that, the team is getting younger and they'll be willing to move on from this guy. So that's going to take a little time. I'm going to try to do that over the next week or so and really do a deep dive. Obviously, if something happens between now and then to get Donovan, then, it's a moot point, but I'm still going to do the research and check it out, and then we can talk about that maybe for next week's show, because I'm interested to see like other guys the Knicks can target, which I appreciate you. I know you've done that on your show, and that's how we got into conversations about Keldon Johnson and things of that nature. So I'm just looking into that type of stuff and seeing what else is out there, because I think that it's just interesting to talk about, and you never know. That's the type of stuff that I love that this Knick regime does sometimes. They haven't been doing it lately. Lately, they've kind of been forecasting what they're doing. We see the moves, but in the past, they were kind of surprising us a little bit, So I hope we might be in that same realm of thinking again with Leon once we get past this time period, because right now this is dominating everything. We'll see. So that brings me to these off-season workouts. I'm not putting so much stock into it, but I just wanted to put that out there. The off-season workouts that are happening right now, we see this every year, right? We know these guys are working on different things. They try different things, and it gets a little frustrating for us as Knicks fans because we never see it in a game. And I'm saying that intentionally starting with one person. I'm not saying the other stuff we won't see in the game, but once again, we see Mitchell Robinson shooting threes. Okay. So shout out to Mitchell Robinson. I love it. I want you to do more of it, but I don't want to continue to see him shooting threes in off-season practices and workouts if I'm never, ever going to see him attempt one in a basketball game. I don't know what the point is. So that type of stuff is a little frustrating, a little annoying, because you want to see this guy continue to get better and work on things and have a chance to do something different. Like as a player in the NBA, how many times can you go out there and just, hey, I want you to get in this spot, block this shot, rebound the ball, and pass the ball out to someone else to score? These guys want to score too. They want to have a chance to put the ball back in the hoop, and they deserve that. Mitchell Robinson has been here. This is his fourth year now. Going to be his fourth year, or is it his fifth year? I don't know. I forget. I'll check that out. But yeah, like at some point, you want to have an opportunity to be able to get out there and get your shot on too, man. You're in the NBA for a reason. Yes, this is going to be Mitchell Robinson's fifth year. So yeah, you want to have that shot. And I think he deserves it. Why not? Tom Thibodeau needs to allow him to be able to get a couple looks at the rim. Short shots, putbacks, we know he does. I mean, the putbacks we know he does, and alley-oops and stuff, but give him a shot to take a 10-footer. Like D said, like if we can get a 10-footer, 12-footer, that'd be great. I'm like, why stop there? Maybe 18 feet, not too far out. The three, I don't need him to shoot threes. That's shoot a couple twos. Let me see a couple hook shots. And most importantly, get them damn free throws to a better, respectable position. If I had to watch Shaq and all those abominable free throw attempts that he made, and he got better, and then watching Dwight Howard, another one who couldn't shoot for his life, got better at shooting free throws, Mitchell Robinson can get better. Jericho Sims can get better. So I need to see that. I need them to continue to put the work in. Honestly, if they do nothing else, when it comes to offensive shooting, shoot them damn free throws, as much as you can, 500, 1,000, however many it's got to be. I need the repetition because I need these guys to get better at that free throw line.
Yeah. It was funny that did you mention Mitch yet or no?
Yeah, that's
okay. My bad. I went away for a second. My fault. What kills me? Can I see a left hand, right hand hook shot first?
I was just saying, like,
okay, my bad. I just got here.
No, I agree with you. Yeah,
like, can I see like a step through? Can I see like a reverse pivot? Can I see like a floater? Can I see an 8 to 10 foot jump shot, a 10 to 12 foot before I see a three? That's all I ask, bro.
It's not much to ask. It's not. And I know that the problem, I don't know. I like to give these coaches credit for how they think, and maybe they know something we don't because they're coaches in the NBA, right? But the other thing is maybe they're trying to avoid certain things. The one thing I never looked at before, and obviously I realize it now, is you maybe to avoid a certain situation, you just don't give that person the opportunity. Maybe the Knicks they were trying not to have Mitch work on too much stuff around the rim with regards to shooting because they didn't feel comfortable with him getting fouled and going to the free throw line because he hasn't really worked on that as much. I'm not saying that that's the way I would think, but it's a possibility. Like the more opportunity you give him around the rim and he's getting fouled and going to the line, when you look at the overall game, if Mitch goes to the line 5 times, that's 10 free throws. If he makes 3 of them, that's 7 points you leave out there, and vice versa and stuff. So, and if you lose a game by 7 points or less,
yeah, I heard.
You gotta, that's the type of stuff as a coach, and those, when you see Thibodeau, you see those other 10 coaches behind them or whatever they got. Those are the type of things that some of them analytical dudes in the back look at. Oh, well, if he goes to the line this many times, he's only hitting this. That means, that's the type of stuff that they're there for, I guess. But I don't know. I just feel like as an NBA player, when you're out there doing your thing, analytics has kind of taken over the world in all of sports. But back in the day, the old Michael Jordan teams, the Detroit Pistons, those guys just played. You did some research, you did scouting, you broke down teams' weaknesses, but analytics wasn't as prevalent as they are now. Those guys just played. You saw Dennis Rodman going to the free throw line. Dennis Rodman was horrible at the free throw line.
Yeah.
Other guys on that team couldn't shoot that well, but they were bruisers and defensive specialists. Mm-hmm. It just is what it is, man. I just think sometimes it's a little overblown. Yeah. But I get it.
And shout out to Canal as well.
Salute. My guy, Canal Banlauya in the building.
Damn, you're so good at that pronunciation. I was trying. I was like, you know what? Stick to Canal. But you brought up a great point about, like, if that's the development staff's, like, thinking as to Mitchell Robinson, and thinking, like, well, we're just going to keep him here because, no, dude, like, he was like, what is he, like 5th or 7th or 8th or something like that in offensive rebound percentage? Like, he has a lot of opportunities at the basket. The issue is that he has no moves. So knowing that he's always been a very good offensive rebounder.
The number 2 offensive rebounder in the NBA.
Yeah, right. So it's like, that would be the first thing. I'll be like, all right, man, let's get you some post hooks here. Let's work on your footwork so then you can maneuver yourself around the paint better and stuff. I mean, and of course he has to work on the shooting, because what happens with his free throw shooting is that he takes himself out of games late in games. And it's sad because he's such an interior defensive prowess. So why would you not do that? You're in your 5th year now. There's no excuse. At least shoot 70%. I'll take 70. And he hit 7 out of 10. I'll take it, because now you're reluctant to foul him like that because he hits his free throws at a better rate. So these are the type of questions that I've always had about the what do you call that? Jesus Christ, it just slipped me. The development staff of the Knicks, like these little things like that. Why has RJ's handle not gotten supremely tighter? Knowing that he operates from the perimeter to slash. You know what I'm saying? Why has Obi Toppin's hand, knowing he's the fastest north to south, one of the fastest guys north to south of the league? Why, I mean, I don't want to wait 2 years for that. That could have been done in the summer, bro. So it becomes a question, and these are very good questions for you guys to ask, right? Is the front office texting them? Are they texting them and saying, yo, did you work on this today? Did you do this today? I wonder if that happens. I wonder, do they speak to anybody for like 3 or 4 months? Or did they just meet? Because Jalen Brunson said something very important. He said, I want to get to know these guys now. I don't want to wait to training camp. And it's like, whoa, wait, hold on a second. How many times has that happened? Oh, wow, the team didn't get off to a very good start this summer. Well, this season, because they didn't even see each other throughout the summer.
Yeah, I mean, that's very true. And we don't, I'm hoping that these guys are definitely working on more of their game. I hope it's phases. I hope that what we've seen them work on in the past, they've worked on that, continue to work on that once they've been trained and shown principles of what they should be focusing on. But I hope now this year they're working on more things. We've seen, like with regards to RJ's first year, one of the things we saw with him is that he was having some issues scoring from the outside. He wasn't consistent at all. So, and then with the Knicks trying to innovate their game to what the current NBA was doing, 3-point shooting, what did RJ do? He worked on his 3-point shot with Drew Hanlon, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I always confuse whether he works with Drew Hanlon or Chris Brickley. I think he was with Drew, I think. I'm not sure. But the point is he worked with one of those guys. Mm-hmm. And you know what happened? The next season he came in and he shot 41% from 3. Listen, I know it was health and safety protocols year. There weren't fans in the seats. He had a little bit more focus as with every other player, but not every other player was shooting 41%. It's not like everybody shot 41% from 3. RJ was doing it. So I got to give him credit for that. And he shot that for the season. Yeah. So kudos to him. Now, of course, you go from that year to the next year, and then he starts working on other things because that's what you do. I mean, he can continue to work on his 3-point shooting, but when you shoot at such a high clip, you're like, okay, now let's focus on something else. Continue to do some of this stuff and these reps, but now what else do I have an issue? My in-between game. That's what you do. And then what happens going into his 3rd season, which we just watched, he started to struggle again from the outside, maybe because the fans are in the seats and there's not as much focus anymore. But his in-between game is still kind of in between, it's still not where it needs to be. And then he still struggles at finishing sometimes when it comes to layups and stuff when he gets to the rim. Maybe it's because he doesn't do well at finishing through contact. Whatever it is, he still struggles at that. And then we also see that his free throw shooting is still a lot to be desired. So that's what you hope that he's working on. If nothing else, you hope he's working on those things coming into this offseason with Team Canada, whatever he's got going on over there. And you want him to kind of get back to just being a solid NBA defender. That's it.
Yeah. No, I hear you. And, RJ in his 2nd year, I think part of him thriving so much, and JJ talks about it all the time, it's just the efficiency and the consistency in doing it in a smaller volume. You see, not everybody's meant to be a high volume guy.
Right.
Okay. A great example of that is the guy that got traded from Detroit to Portland. Grant.
It was Jeremy Grant, right?
Jeremy Grant. Like in a smaller usage in Denver, he was highly effective. And he went to Detroit on a high volume and he struggled. It didn't translate to wins. It didn't translate to guys getting better. Not everybody's meant to have the high value. And I'm not going to put the jury out on RJ yet to say that he's not that guy because he still has his 4th year to prove himself. But, something to take from that year, that Cinderella year, and this is the same thing for Randle too. The volume wasn't as high. It was more of a committee type of thing. Now, I have gripes about them, how they work their 2- and 3-man combinations. And and it was a little bit too centric, and they left a lot of guys out in that. But regardless of that, everything was done in a smaller sample size, and you got more efficient numbers. So, if they go ahead and get back to that, which I think they will with Jalen, I think we're going to see, forget about points per, I don't care about that. I think we're going to see better shooting. We're going to see better free throw shooting. We're going to see lesser turnovers. We're going to see better 3-point shooting. So that's that.
Shout out to 19 Conman NYC 84. Appreciate you as always. He says Sims is a better rebounder than Mitch. It's interesting that you say that because as I mentioned, Mitch was the number 2 in the entire NBA offensive rebounder. However, on the defensive rebound front, he doesn't do that same. It's harder, of course, but it's not as easy for him to be a good defensive rebounder. That's something that Mitch needs to work on, because if Mitch can just be an adequate defensive rebounder, I think he's kind of poor at it, to be honest. If he can be an adequate defensive rebounder, Mitch takes his rebounding game to another level. Then he becomes that double guy automatically every night. He could be a high double, like 12 rebound type guy every night. And I think that Mitch, that's the evolution of his game. That's where it needs to go. He just needs to be quicker to his spots. because obviously he's slimmed down a little bit because he got back to the weight that works for him. But when you slim down, you know, the bigger guys are going to kind of box you out a little bit. You got to be able to move around. Back in the day, when if you remember Mitch's second years here, he was basically jumping over people to steal those defensive rebounds. It's more, you know, he needs to get back into positioning and just being quick and anticipating. Anticipation is something he shouldn't have a problem with, because the way he offensive rebounds, you know, he got it. So yeah, I just think it's he needs to focus a little bit more on that. And you know, you're right that right now, when you look at the offensive and the defensive side, Sims might look like a better rebounder, but we'll see how the season plays out, because I feel like Mitch is going to continue to surprise people, especially now that he gets to come into this season at his you know, ideal weight, and he's not struggling going up and down trying something new. He gets to just go play ball. So we might see a better Mitch.
Cash Out says something very important. He says, actually, Mitch always boxes out that allows other people like Randle to just steal rebounds. That's very true.
Interesting point.
And I was going to add to that and say that we also got to keep it account, too, that Randle does average 10 or 11 rebounds a game, and most of his minutes are played with Mitch.
Correct. That's another thing you have to think about, that, because Randle is a really good rebounder. He has a great sense of finding the ball. And if he's doing that and they're both playing at the same time, there's only so many rebounds to go around. The point is, as long as we're getting the rebounds, I'm cool. But when you think about when the team is out there and you've got, you know, Mitch out there, you've got Randle, you've got RJ, who's a very good rebounder for his position. And at sometimes, I forgot who else that they would really have that's a good rebounder playing with them. I don't know. Maybe Burks is a good rebounder. Quickly is a good rebounder for their size and for their position. But you know, the Knicks did do a really good job for the most part throughout the season. I think they were always right there in rebounding with teams, or sometimes having the edge. So
for the Knicks,
yeah, I think their gang rebounding was pretty good for the most part of the year. If you got that, D, that'd be.
Oh, dope. I'm doing it right now.
Appreciate you.
You see my face change when I started.
Yeah, I saw it. I saw you went into the stat mode. Let's see what we got going on over here. While you're doing that, shout out to Senga Waldron. Appreciate you, guy. Thank you for tuning in. Francisco Carrillo is in the building. What's going on? Appreciate you. And I'm gonna get into Francisco. I know you always put this in the chat. Okay, we'll get into that in a second. Let me see. Frank Matos used to call me Sasso. What's going on, Frank? Appreciate you. Big Shiesty's in the building. Los Knicks is in the building. Appreciate you. Let me see.
You got Jeremy?
Jeremy Maynard's here. What's going on? Judah Hebrew Lion is in the building. Our future media is here. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for tuning in. Guys, smash that like button if you enjoy the show. Thank you. We appreciate it. You know, the algorithms love that stuff. Where's I just had something I wanted to. Oh, there he is. Pete P is in the building. Pete Panogiotopoulos is here. What's going on, brother?
So for the team rankings, the Knicks were second in the league in total rebounds per game.
Yeah, because I felt like, you know, you one of those things that stood out to me is every time I would look at the box score, I'd see the Knicks that either they were right there with the team or they had a better rebounding ratio. Because I also feel like the rebounding is key to the Knicks. They need, for a team that's inefficient at scoring and they're shooting, you better get those rebounds and get some second chance opportunities.
Absolutely. And look, offensive rebounds, they were fourth in the league. Defensive rebounds, they were 11th. Offensive rebound percentage, they were 6th. Defensive rebound percentage, they were 2nd.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Nice.
And that explains why they were in a lot of games, so to speak, and why they may have won 37 games is because they were able to control possessions and the tempo of the game.
Correct. You need that. They needed it, should I say, in order to make things, you know, interesting and have a chance, because sometimes, you know, you're going up against an opponent that's much better positioned than you. Ashley Inc. I don't know if I said salute to you before. I saw your name, but I'm definitely saying salute now. Salute to you, Ashley Inc. Appreciate you. Okay, so let me put this
up,
up.
Ashley?
Let's go to this real quick, because I know we were talking about workouts and what these guys are doing. And, you know, you got the videos circling around. Let's see. Go here. Boom. And yes. All right. Can you see that?
Let's see. Yep.
All right. And this is small. It may not. I mean, I didn't want to do the whole thing of breaking it down and ripping it and try. Yeah, it's small. Whatever. But, you know, this is a video floating around on Twitter and other circles. Shout out to K_low97 and someone else. I'll shout them out too, because he took another clip of this. Yeah, this is good to see. I'll let it loop in case it doesn't show too quick. But look at Obi working on the handles, man. Look at the dribble skills. Look at Obi.
Yeah.
This is good to see. Shout out to Committed to My Craft. Appreciate you. I like that he's messing around with this, because obviously he's definitely doing something. Because look at the ball handler. Okay, Obi.
Yeah, and you see he's lower on his dribble than he was last season. He's more in a chair. You see right there, he was in a chair right there. See, he's in a chair right there.
Yeah. Good. And then he's got people stepping up to him trying to get the ball. He was able to get out of there. It's good, just good signs.
Oh yeah. Definitely. And
I especially like the first clip over here on this angle, looking at how he breaks the guy down and gets to the baseline. This is nice too, but I really like that first angle, that first clip. I'm gonna show it again. You know, it just shows that, you know, he's definitely doing something.
No, definitely. Look, listen, I teach all my young players two things first: ball handling and conditioning. Because if you don't have the ball handle to get to the places where you want on the court, you're not effective. If you're not able to hold your breath together and have good breath control and getting up and down and playing that way, right, you're not effective. So as Jalen Brown, when Jalen Brown came out, right, I believe he played in California, right, when he came out, his ball handle was atrocious. And what really made him step up was the creation of his ball handle is what really got him to where he's at today. If Obi, and this goes for Randle too, this goes for RJ, they all should be working devastatingly on ball handling this summer. And somebody brought up a good point in the chat. They said that, you know, like what you work on in the summer is not necessarily what you do during the season. And that is very true.
Very true.
But you want to think outside the box. And these guys should be spending, in order to get their ball handle tight for the season, they should be ball handling at least 2 or 3 hours almost every day. And they should be trying everything outside of the box, because when that season comes, they're going to see, you know, like they're going to make a simplification as to how they can get to their spots and stuff like that, because they'll have the confidence in the ball handle in order to go ahead and try to get to those spots. So if Obi comes in this season and he's handling the ball, anything to that nature, okay, Obi Toppin will be playing 25 minutes this season, guaranteed.
Right. I'm with you on that. Appreciate you, Tatface. Have a great day, brother. Hope everything's going good for you and yours. Always appreciate the support, bro. Yeah, I agree with you, man, because that's the type of stuff, like if Obi can work on it, like for example with Obi working on his handle is huge.
Yes.
Because we see that one of the things that we need Obi to be able to do is to break down his defender. Like Obi can't just be a transition guy, you know, trying to get out there, leak and get a quick transition basket. And being able to shoot from outside, hit the three is good, but in order to take your game to the next level, in order to become a big factor in the NBA and on this Knicks team, you need to do a little bit more. I mean, teams are going to play you a certain way and they're going to try to lock you down. So the more things you can work on to elevate your game, the better.
Let me ask you a question, bro. Give me a player that you consider a top 20, top 30 player that doesn't have a ball handle. Exactly. That's why I teach ball handling and conditioning first. because every player, I'll go down the list. Every one of those players has a ball handle. Joel Embiid, a setter, has a magnificent ball handle for his size. Bro.
That is true. That is true.
Nikola Jokic has a magnificent ball handle for his size. He literally goes coast to coast on plays, making plays, pocket passes or bounce passes 30 feet away and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You have to.
You're not wrong there. 100% correct.
Right. So that's why it kills me. It kills my brain where I see these guys come through year 3. Now we're doing the ball handling. It's a perimeter-based league. This is a league where you're operating from 25 feet out to the basket. It's not back in 97, 2001, where you're working for mid-post, low post. That's not it anymore, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, everything's pick and roll, and everything is 5-man out, and or it's 4-man and a pick and roll option and stuff like that. And guys are just getting to where they get for the perimeter, whether off the dribble or into the slash, or it doesn't make sense to me. I get confused. Sorry, I went on a rant there.
No. I agree, bro. You definitely correct. That is the truth. That is definitely the truth. I mean, we know that in order to get better, like, you got to work on all aspects of your game. Everything: free throws, 3-point shooting, mid-range shooting, layups, dribbling, like all aspects of your offensive game. I'd much rather you say, and that's what I think Obi should look at too. Obi, he's 6'8", so he's kind of a little smaller than you'd hope he'd be, but he's still at a very decent height, and we know that function wise he's not great on defense. He has a lot of hiccups and issues he has to work on with that. Can he improve on that? Yeah, of course he can improve and become marginal. He can be in that marginal in the right system as long as he does what he needs to do. That's good enough sometimes. But in order to be looked at in a better light, work on your offensive game. Get to the point where now you become like, you don't got to be a walking bucket, but get to the point where hey man, no matter what team Obi goes to, Obi can get you 18 points. 18, 20 points, something like that, whatever it is. I'm going to say 18 because it's a safer number for young players, but he can get you that points because he knows his spots on the floor where he can score. And if you try to lock down those spots, Obi leaks out. Obi's faster than certain position players. He gets to the rim and then he can still hit the 3. Like, if he works on all that, it becomes, well, Obi's not a great defender, but his offensive game is this. Yeah, I don't know. That might be NBA speak right there, D. Coolis. I don't know. They say he's really 6'8". Now, granted, he might have grown. He could be 6'9". It all depends about who measures you and how you get measured on that day. And I was just thinking about that with Kai Sato, doing the videos for him. One day he's 7'1", next day he's 7'2", next day he's 7'3". Like, so it all depends. Speaking of Kai Sato, let me take this quick moment to do this, because you know what? I'm a big Kai Sato fan. I know nothing really happened with him. Unfortunately, he wasn't drafted. And then because of his contract and he's got overseas in the NBL and all that stuff, he wasn't invited to Summer League because you got to pay and all this. So it looks like he's going to take another year and do his European thing and go from there. And we'll see, probably revisit it next year's draft. But I want to shout out to him. He's not watching this, but I like the kid and I hope he does well. But I will say that he has decided to play for the NBL one more year. That's the Australian year. He's committed to that. So he'll play for that team. And he parted ways with his NBA type agent that he had. And he switched agencies. He's got a new agent who's well recognized and well known, and I should know the name, but I don't remember at the moment. If I get it, I'll say it. But so hopefully he does well. Good for him, and maybe we'll see him in next year's draft or something like that. So
somebody said something very monumental about this Obi stuff. It was Parrish. Parrish says Obi has a history of improving dramatically each level he gets to. That's why he's your number one prospect. That is very freaking true. In high school and in college, he was a late bloomer in his 3rd or 4th year. So that could be his trajectory, which is very true. But I think it's important for Obi I think it's important for them to get up and down when Obi's on the court. I think Obi, quickly, Grimes, those have. I think they thrive under that. You have more space to work with. You see, because they're not guys that, like, you could just put it in a half court and they could just go ahead and manipulate the defense and break it down every time. They're not those type of guys. But they are those type of guys when working with pace and speed, so they're able to take advantage of guys miscommunicating or coming late on the switch or coming late on the rotation and stuff like that. So it's very important. It's got to be like this when they're in the ball game.
That makes sense to me. I agree with that. And hey, maybe you're right. Maybe you were right, D. Coolest. That could be the case, and if that is the case, then he is a little taller than what is advertised. And shout out to the chat once again. Appreciate y'all. Hit that like button. Hit that like button. I think we got 77 likes or something like that. Let's see if we can get up to 100, man. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, we need more. Man, stuff is slow right now, man.
It definitely is. It's a slow moving time. We just got to grin and bear it, man. Grin and bear it and get through. And then hopefully before you know it, we'll be at training camp.
Yeah.
Because training camp is not too far away, guys. But it's still, it's not tomorrow. So, yeah.
It's 2 months or like a little bit less than that.
Yeah. Yeah. Shout out to Thunny Music. Appreciate you, man. Thank you for tuning in as always. Shout out to Jean-Marc in the building. What's going on? Thank you for tuning in as always. Appreciate the love and support. Neville Humphreys is in the building. Bodega Wi-Fi is in the building. Appreciate you.
What's up, Neville?
So yeah, that's what Obi's doing right now, and we hope to see more of it. It's good for him to work on and go from there. And then another highlighted workout that we've seen is that's been floating around is Julius Randle. I'm not going to put Julius Randle workout out there because it's just what he does, regular stuff that he works on, but it looks good. He looks in really great shape. Now I think we're in a really bad place, and this kind of goes back to, now I don't want to get into a whole crazy Julius Randle talk, but what I will say is I do feel bad for the guy. I don't think what he did last year was good, and because of that, I've said it many times, I think the Knicks should have moved on from him. I think they should trade him, not necessarily just for the Knicks organization and these players that are here now, but also for Julius Randle and his psyche. I think it was mentioned that he has gone to see a sports psychologist. If that's the case, then that's great.
Good for him.
If that's the case, that's great. So that's fantastic. But my whole thing is, I'm just concerned about his mental psyche and how it will hold up throughout the course of the season, being here in this New York Knicks system. With the fact that you have to deal with the New York Knicks fans who are not always forgiving. You still are dealing with Thibodeau, even though Thibodeau is in Julius's corner. But, Thibodeau has a job to do. Thibodeau needs this team to get better. So if Thibodeau sees something that doesn't look right, I hope this year Thibodeau makes that change. Thibodeau says, Julius, you don't look good out there, or we need this, and you're not giving it at the moment. I'm going to bring this guy off the bench and see what he can do. I need Thibodeau to be that way. I don't care who it is. If it's RJ, if it's Julius, if it's Jalen, I don't care who it is. I need Thibodeau to be able to do that yank. And then it's not saying you're pulling away from the guy for the whole game. But if something's not working and we're getting our butts kicked out there and nothing is being orchestrated or played out the way you need it to do, you have to make a switch and try something different. Give yourself a chance to stay in the basketball game, and then you can make an adjustment later and say, okay, I'm going to go, because he's going to go back to his starters. I'm going to go back to you guys. Maybe you can get it right. But at least got to be willing to do that and hold guys accountable. That, listen, if you're just because you're a star, just because you're getting paid $100 million, I need you to do this. I don't care if you're Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle, or RJ Barrett. So you have to step up and show that we can depend on you, that this team can depend on you. And if it's not right, okay, go back and practice and work on whatever wasn't going good, because we're going to need you the next time around. That's what I need from Thibodeau. I need Thibodeau to give me that type of energy. And I said this because, you know, you got the Julius Randle workout stuff going on. You see him dunking the ball, maybe a layup, couple jump shots, whatever. And it looks good, just what he's working on. Then you got another person capturing Julius from a different angle, missing shots, and then clowning him like on TikTok, saying this is supposed to be an NBA player or this guy's trash or something like that. Like, people are idiots. Let me just say that right off the bat. People are freaking idiots. Do you think that NBA players don't miss shots? Do you think that, you know, everybody hits 100% of the shots they take? Like, what are we talking about here? It's practice. And even in games, people miss shots. But in practice, you think they don't miss? You don't think, come on. It was ridiculous to see it. And I know that because it's TikTok, there's going to be a bunch of people that jump on that. They're clicking on likes and highlighting it. Yeah, man, funny, funny, funny. It's dumb. And Julius Randle's working on stuff to try to get better, to get back to playing basketball with the New York Knicks and maybe, you know, turning things around. That's stupid stuff. Like, who's doing this? Why highlighting something when a guy's taking practice shots? It's dumb. I don't know, bro. I found that to be, I couldn't even laugh at it because I thought it was stupid. I was like, I don't get what's the point here. I don't know, man.
The fans are fickle, sir. They're a fickle bunch. League average and the you know, the most competitive elite crop of players in the world on the 3-point line is at 35 to 36% every season since 1970. I mean, on my bad, 1980 when it came out. Sorry.
All right, let me. I don't want to put it up there because it's not an extended workout, guys. Let me see if I can find it. And I'll show it real quick. It's because one, you're not going to see. It's like 10 seconds. It's really just Julius shooting the ball. Like, that's all it is.
And your worries about Julius' mental state and Tibbs, I would advise you. So you're going to remember this. Jalen Brunson's going to steer the ship, right? He is the captain of the ship.
Yeah, I agree.
None of that going on.
And just so you guys know what I'm talking about, the clip is literally 13 seconds long. It shows Julius Randle, and this is the negative clip. It shows Julius Randle taking 3 shots. 2 of the shots he misses, and the third shot, it looks like he hits, but then the guy moves away. And his caption is, "This NBA player is literally dog crap." Like, what is wrong with people? It's just dumb. Like, people doing too many clickbaity things and trying to get their jokes off. It's stupid. I don't need to see it, and I'm done, man. I'm just done.
The new thing now is inside sources. My inside sources have told me. Dude has no sources. His sources is the same sources that we're using.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that. I don't know who these sources are. Who are these so-called sources you say you speak of? You know. Okay, so here's just a quick look at the regular workout. It's only 26 seconds. It's real quick. This is just I didn't want to highlight it because of the fact that this is just regular stuff. This is not a pickup game. This is just Julius working on his regular game with whoever he's training with. No big deal. But I will say it looks pretty dope to see him because he kind of looks like the Terminator, how his arms are glistening. Like this guy's like he's got metal arms when he's getting his sweat on. So pause. You know what I mean, guys? Anyway, so take a look at what this is real quick. Oh, shoot. Hold on. Cut that sound off. We don't need the sound. All right.
That's some good bounce there. He got lighter.
Yeah. No, he definitely. I'm telling you, there's a reason behind his madness.
He got lighter, and he also got lighter on his feet as well. You can see like his steps are a lot quicker.
That's it, guys. That's all it is. It's just a real quick probably a little ad for prime time with whoever he's working out with. But it looks good to see that he definitely looks. I mean, this guy looks like a specimen, man. He's really worked on his body. Good for him. I felt like maybe coming into this year, if he slimmed down a little bit, maybe it helps him a little with his follow through and rotation on his shots, because maybe he was putting a little too much arm into his shots last year. So hopefully it helps his touch. But that's pretty much it, guys. There's not like a video of him in pickup games. We saw a lot of that last year. I'm sure he'll probably do that as we get closer to training camp, because he loves to do pickup games too. We'll see.
Yeah. And shout out to that trainer too. That's Tyler Ralph there. That trainer, he's very good. He has very high intensity workouts and stuff like that. He puts a lot of pressure on his players and stuff like that. So that's intriguing that he went that route as well.
Yeah, so that's pretty dope, guys. Hopefully you're able to take a quick look at that. So I know someone had mentioned that in the chat, so I wanted to show it real quick for you. Shout out to King Sipes in the building. Victor Vivera is here. Rayology, what's good, brother?
It's good, Ray.
Always good to see you. Keyshawn is in the building. Salute to y'all. Oh, and I'll put the link in the chat just in case anybody else wants to jump in.
Brahim asked a very interesting question. It's like, crazy question. Can Randle play some three?
So the funny thing is, and I know D can speak to this as well, that is something that has been thrown around. The question is, how will Randle acclimate himself to playing the three? I think the fact that he is slimming down and looks like he could be in really great shape. He might be quicker out there. He might, like D pointed to, he might look like he has a little more bounce, a little lighter on his feet. Because one thing about Julius Randle that gets kind of overlooked is Julius Randle is a really good athlete. When Julius Randle came into the league, the Lakers thought they had a tremendous player on their hands. Julius Randle came into the league with hella bounce, very bouncy, good, powerful, strong. Yeah. So it's a piece that you think, man, this guy could be special. And if he gets a consistent outside shot, look out. The consistent outside shot has been a little iffy. His bounce, may have struggled a little bit. It might have got a little less bouncy because he's gotten so big, and gained a little bit more weight, physical muscle. But, it can detract the weight, it can take away from you a little bit. Plus, I mean, he has played 7 years in the league. All players' bounce starts to dissipate a little bit, but you can still, if you build the right muscles, you can still maintain it. And sometimes you can get a little bit more on your vert. So maybe if he's working on all these different things, maybe he's putting himself in a position to be even a greater force at power forward and possibly used at the small forward position as well. One thing I will give credit to Julius Randle is he's not a horrible defender. He's actually a pretty good defender at his position. Where he struggles is usually on the help side of the defense, because the Knicks do a lot of switching in Thibodeau's system, and he gets put on guard and wing players sometimes, and they have been faster than him. I think Julius is one of those that puts out a lot of energy at one time. He's like a, if you look at Julius's game, look at how hard he goes into what he's doing, hard in the paint or hard to get by. He's expensing a lot of energy. And then if you notice, maybe not all the time, but back down the other end of the court, he's a little tired. He's a little gassed because he's going full throttle. So just look at how he plays and how he carries out. Now, I hope that he understands the way he moves a little better, and he's able to save some of that so he can be a little better all around. But he just he hits you with that full throttle at moments and goes all in, and then he's gassed a little bit. Anyway, what were we gonna say, D?
Oh no, that was great points. I was just gonna say that with Randle, he won't have to succumb to seeing 2, 3, 4 people on his strong side this year. And I think that's monumental. I'll repeat that again. I don't think you're going to see Julius Randle having to deal with 2, 3, or 4 guys on his strong side of the basketball this year. And I think that's going to help him gazillion. And I think he's going to be able to chill out. Danny was good. I think he's going to be able to be a little bit more patient with the basketball, especially when they run their sets. They actually have a point guard now that can put them in the right spaces. Won't have to ask him to do as much. Big Mike said something that I was just going to say. I wanted to highlight it. He says, when Julius decides he wants to play D, he's pretty good. I was just going to say, with Julius Randle, it's an on and off switch thing. because we've seen possessions where he's engaged and he'll lock it down. And then we'll see possessions where he just doesn't give a damn what the hell happens. Weak side, strong side, on ball containment. It doesn't matter to him. He's not doing anything. So if you can get Julius at that 100% laser focus, I think he's able to guard some threes in this league. And that would be fantastic because it gives Obi a couple of more minutes.
Yep. I agree with that. And that's shout out to Danny. Appreciate you being here, brother, as always.
Thank you, Ron. What's up, D?
How's everything going?
Not too bad. Can't complain.
That's good.
I took a nice fall last week. I gave this guy a shower.
Hello there.
What's up, bro?
I get too much shampoo and soap, and I took a shower right away, and I slipped and fell on my ribs.
Oh, damn.
Ew.
Yeah, I haven't been in the gym like for a week now.
Yeah, I know. I've unfortunately I did that. I was too young for it to really remember. I remember it, but too young for it to really traumatize me. But yeah, when I was young, I did that when I was like 7 or 8 years old. I did so. I don't know if I was dancing or playing around. I tripped and I hit my tooth on the freaking tub. Woo, that was rough.
You know, Danny, how jacked you're looking. I think you can use a break from the gym.
Yeah.
little bit. You looking like you about to take out a brick wall, bro.
I want to take down Danny Ainge. That's what I want to take
down. I bet you
playing games with us.
Well, that is a brick wall.
Yeah.
What did I miss from you guys? What have you guys been talking about?
I'm sorry, what you say, Danny?
What did I miss from you guys? What's your conversation been?
Oh, right now we were kind of just talking about like off-season workouts and some of what the guys are working on doing, and most recently we talked about Mitch and Obi, and I was just touching on Julius a little bit because they're just showing Julius's normal workout stuff that he does, which is cool, but they were also trolling Julius. Some dude was trying to troll him on TikTok saying like this. Like his game was trash, like because he missed a shot. He missed 2 shots in a row, so he's garbage. Like, I don't know. Like, people are just, there's a lot of trolls out there trying to get their name out and make light of somebody else's whatever they got going on. This is dumbness. Shout out to Tom from Huntington. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you being here. Tom, I don't know. Maybe I feel like this name looks familiar. Maybe you've been here before, but if you haven't, thank you for tuning in. Hope if this is your first time, hopefully you enjoyed the show. Hit that like button if you like what you see and subscribe. Well, if you comment, then most likely you subscribe. So thank you for being here, man. Appreciate you. Shout out to Kareem Grant. What's up, twin? What's good?
Kareem.
Appreciate you, brother. Billy Goat's in the building. Big Mike is in the building. Yeah, when Julius decides he wants to play D, he's pretty good. Hey, what's going on, buddy?
What's going on?
What do you say? Hit the like button and what?
Subscribe or I will come to your house and I choke you with spider.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Shout out to Visions. Appreciate you. I was gonna say to what D was saying about Julius, about him kind of getting himself leveled up and balanced with regards to how he plays up and down on the court. Like, one of the other things that Julius needs to stop doing too. One, as I told you, he puts a lot of energy into the offensive end and goes full throttle on certain plays. So that takes something out of you. So you're a little lackadaisical coming back down on the other end. It's not good, but it's understandable that can happen the way he goes at it. He needs to lessen that. The other thing he needs to do, and that's a really bad habit he has, he's got to get out of the funk of when his offensive game is not going. He's got to stay into the game. He gets out of the game and he starts not trying on the other end when things aren't going well. He gets that defeated thing in him, like, my game's not going good. What am I doing wrong? He gets too much into his head and he's lost. And then he starts getting taken to school out there by the other team on the defensive end. Like, he's got to get on the offensive end when he's playing defense. He's got to get out of that mentality. Your game's going. If it's not going, just keep doing what you got to do. Pick up your teammates and keep doing something to impact winning on the when you're out there on the team. And if he can do that and stay physically locked in, the Knicks are going to be a much better team this year. And I think he can do that. I'm not gonna as a player, I'm not going to downplay what he can do to help the team. I just think he needs to be right, and stay away from getting caught up in everything else. Everything that happened with his family and how the Knicks fans got on him and all that stuff and affected, that's horrible. But stay away from all of that. Stay away from the controversy. Put blinders on. You know, deaf the sound. You're deaf to everything. Just block it all out and just play basketball.
Yeah. No, I hear you. And you know, somebody has said about Kerry says if we still got Fournier, he's going to start, which is why I say Fournier, Cam, and a second round pick for. Okay, so that's a great point about Fournier, because keep in mind that it's very important for this team to get off to good starts in the first and third quarters. And last year we were 19th in the league in first quarter points, and last year we were 30th. I'll repeat again, we were 30th in the league in third quarter points last year. So yeah, you're damn right. I don't think Evan Fournier should be starting. Look, and people say this prowess about Evan Fournier. Look, you're still 19th and you're still 30th in first and third quarters points. And he used to play most of those quarters as the season progressed, if you guys remember. So it's very important that you have a good defensive unit out there to get into a good start, because you have more possessions and more opportunities to get into transition.
That's a good point. Salute to Al, or is that AI? I'm not sure. Maybe it's Al. Salute to Al. Appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate
it. Salute to Geraldine McIver, the first lady of Still Knicks fans in the building. Let's go,
Geraldine.
Appreciate you, Geraldine. Salute to James Harden. Hey man, listen. I know I'm not been big on your game, the defensive, but I appreciate you, bro. So thank you. James Harden took the time to be in here, y'all.
Thank you, James.
The beard is in the building.
There you go. And let me get to I didn't forget about you, Parrish. Let me get to Parrish Duggar's super chat. Thank you for the generous super chat. He said, hey, does Brunson come here if Donovan Mitchell was here already? And that is an interesting question, because I don't think so. That's me. I don't know how you guys feel, but I think if we already had Donovan Mitchell, I don't think we would go get Jalen Brunson. If anything, I think we would try to get a different type of player to basically coincide with Donovan Mitchell. But the fact that Jalen's here first, it is what it is. What do you think?
Good question. No. If Donovan Mitchell was the plan, there's no Jalen Brunson.
I think so too.
But I'd rather it be Brunson than Donovan.
Yeah. What do you think, Danny?
Brunson.
Yeah. So you think if we had Donovan Mitchell first, they wouldn't go after Brunson?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
But you know what, though? I don't even think we're getting Mitchell, to be honest. I don't think we're going to get him. I was reading before I got on with you guys something about that maybe they're still interested a little bit in Barrett and Mitchell Robinson, too, I was reading.
Yeah, there's too much stuff going on right now, Danny. I'll tell you, man. There's a lot of smoke out there, man, and I don't see any bears. There's no forest. There's a lot of smoke. So I don't know.
Just talk, yeah.
I never seen an offseason like that where people would just come out and it would come out on media and say that a deal is 95% done. It's about to be done. I've never seen that. So that's kind of new, and that goes to show you how much crap there was behind this, because all reports have regarded that Danny gave an asking price. Leon said no, and that was the end of the discussion. So who dragged it on for this one? Very interesting.
I mean, listen, I told you. I mean, part of the reason why I don't watch ESPN, and I don't listen to some of the stuff that's out there is because I've already seen it happen in regards to other players, like with Kevin Durant. You know, I heard the SAS dude tell me that there's a 97.5% chance that Kevin Durant is coming to the New York Knicks. You guys remember that? Then he wound up in Brooklyn. Yep. That 2.5% must have been huge. Like, it must have really crazy, man. I'm not even, whatever. It is what it is. But you know what? That's another topic. Yeah. So I'm just thinking like, yeah, Knicks for clicks. That's right. That's what it is. I'm just thinking, oh, the public enemy number one. Appreciate you. Salute.
It's good.
I'm just thinking that the Knicks just need to focus on what they can, and they put it out there. You make your offer and you go from there. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. And you just go with what you got and continue to monitor the team, how it looks, what's going on. And if it doesn't look right, don't wait until you're in a situation where you're desperate to make a move. Make a move at your first opportunity that makes sense and go get you another player to help cover up for whatever issues you see that still may present themselves with the roster. That's all. That's what a smart organization would do. Make a move when you see there's a time to make a move. Don't wait till it's too late, and then now the rest of the league thinks you're desperate. Now they want to ask for all this and that, and then maybe the stock of the players that you're trying to move goes down the longer you keep the guy on the team. Like, you got to make moves when it's time to make a move. Don't wait too long, because that's the flip side of it is these young guys, we want to see what they can do. But if they start to look like they can't do it, you got to move on. Like certain guys, like a Deuce McBride, is in a tough spot. He might not be able to get a lot of minutes this year going forward again. And in the minutes that he does get, if he doesn't look good, that might be it for Deuce.
Tom got the itchy trigger finger too, bro.
Yeah, you know how it is. That's how it is in the NBA. And then on this team with Thibodeau.
Yeah. Miguel P has a question.
Okay, hold on one second. Oh, shout out to Ala Wise, by the way. Appreciate you. Where is the Miguel P? There we go. Questions to the panel. Do we have Brunson because of the connections and how good he is, or because of how good he is and the connections? Oh, I see what you did there.
That was nice.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's nice. And I like how Miguel P's logo and my color scheme really it fits. It's really rocking right there. I may leave this up for the rest of the show. No.
There you go.
Just joking. Anyway, that's interesting. That's a very interesting question there. So I hope that we brought him in because of the fact that we had the connections to him, and he's a really good player that can help our team. It's no mystery. We know everything that's been played out in front of us with bringing in his father, the Godfather thing, the connection between Tibbs and him, and all that stuff is there. So, if you happen to, it's like if the Knicks, say if Leon Rose was LeBron James's godfather, okay, you think that he's not going to try to reach out to LeBron? Hey, listen, I'm over here with the Knicks, and that's just what's going to happen, right? So that makes sense. The connection part, it makes sense. It is what it is. Fine. The fact that Jalen Brunson is now, what if Jalen Brunson was a small forward? Would it be that big of an issue that they would be trying to get Jalen Brunson in here, pay him $100 million to bring in the small forward with the connections? I don't think so. I think it's the fact that Jalen Brunson is a pretty good basketball player who could be even a little better, maybe. He's not even in his prime yet. He's still got a couple years away. But he's a very good basketball player. Not great, but he's very good. And he's a point guard, a position of need for this New York Knicks team that you addressed. So it makes a lot of sense. Now, the flip side of it is, now that you have him here, when you think about the connections that he has going forward, how could that really help the team? Who else might want to come here and play with the Knicks and be here with the Knicks? And then the other thing is, I think shout out to Nothing But Knicks and Sim and the crew over there. They had a show about this, and it's something that you need to think about, because it's something the Knicks have to address, is how will the flip side work? Because Jalen Brunson's connections are to front office members, to the coach and his father, who's another coach, But on the team, this current Knick team, he doesn't have a lot of people that he's familiar with, that he's played with. You know, they don't have that same type of bond. He really doesn't really know a lot of people on this team like that. They know of each other, but they don't have that connection. They didn't play at AAU. They didn't play at high school. They didn't go to the same college. So the question was brought up, how does that camaraderie and that connection really work between Brunson and the rest of the team, being that he's going to be the orchestrator and they have to listen to him, follow what he's doing. Usually in a lot of situations, when you bring in a player to these teams, all the connections are rampant. There's maybe 2 or 3 people that know the same guy, like they all played together. You got that thing. But Jalen actually doesn't have any of that with the players. So how do they go about, you know, dealing with that? And then the bigger question, which I thought was a phenomenal question to bring up, is what happens when the team is having like them team meetings, or there's a gripe, or there's something going on where they have issues with Tibbs, they have issues with Rick Brunson, they have issues with Leon Rose, and they may want to voice it. Do they feel comfortable voicing that around Jalen because of his connections with the front office and the staff? Like, how do you feel about saying, hey, man, you know, Leon is bugging right now, he's doing this, or Tibbs is doing this? Do you feel like you can trust Jalen that he's team first and not going to bring that up to anybody? And I'm not saying he would, but you're going to look at him in a certain way. So how do they get over that? How do they deal with all that?
I think Jalen, you know, Jalen doesn't seem like the spoiled type where like he hides, but he seems like he takes care of his business. I don't think that'll be an issue.
I don't think it should be an issue either, but it's something that some people might think about. So I wouldn't be surprised if certain players are a little apprehensive and on their P's and Q's, like, let me not say too much, or let me not be doing too much. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, there's a possibility. Yeah. So, I mean, what do you think, Danny? You think that if in this situation that the Knick players might be a little concerned to say stuff around Jalen because of his connections with the front office, the coach, and his father being a coach too?
I don't think so. It seems like Jalen's like a quiet guy, like doesn't look for any problems, doesn't make bring any issues, baggage or anything. I don't think it's going to be an issue. But my question is, if Jalen, what he should do now is, if he wants to build chemistry with these dudes, he should get on the phone with a bunch of them and say, yo, can we get together? You guys have free time, and we start playing together a little bit so we can get a claim to one another, you know? That'd be a good thing to do, you know? What do you guys think?
Well, I will tell you to answer that, I think you're absolutely right. That's exactly what he should do. And in fairness to Jalen, apparently he has done that in his introduction to the Knicks when they had the press conference or whatever, the meet and greet, whatever you want to call it. He mentioned that was one of the first things he did. He's already made calls out to some of the team because he wants to get to know them. He wants to meet up with them. But of course, everybody's kind of off doing their own thing. Julius is over here, Obi's doing this, playing for overtime and all, and RJ's with Team Canada. So there's people are all over the place. So he hasn't been able to kind of get up with people yet. But that's one of the first things he said he wanted to do, and he's been trying to do. So I agree with you on that, Danny. He definitely needs to ingratiate himself with the rest of the team, get familiar, get comfortable, and they need to understand that they can depend on him, they can trust him, and outside of all the politics, that he's team first. And I think Jalen is the type. I mean, if you just look at how he handled himself in the introductory press conference, how he was talking on the JJ Redick podcast, you can see that he's a no-nonsense type of guy. He says what he says. He does what he does. Right. He's had people going against him his whole life, always saying he's too small, all this stuff. Oh, he can't do this. He can't do that. And he's been trying to prove them all wrong and just go out there and play basketball. He just wants to be treated like any other basketball player. So I think that I don't think that's something they have to worry about. Is there something they may have to address with these other teammates who may not be, knowing, maybe they have to. It's good to say it one time and move on. Like somebody in the front office, or what maybe Jalen just says, gets a team meeting with everybody. Look, I know what's this and this and this. I'm not that dude. Okay, you come to me, we teammates, we team first. Everybody else can go to hell. And I'm my father included, but I mean that in the basketball sense, you know what I mean? So I think Jalen would be the type to do something like that. So I don't think that's something they got to worry about, but I do think it would be smart to address it, because the things that present themselves that you don't think about and never address always come back in some form. You know what I mean? Why don't just nip it in the bud? Say one thing about it and move on. That's it. I already said it. I addressed it. If there's anything that comes out of this after that, that's on you. You know what I mean? I like that type of attitude when it comes to that stuff.
To answer Miguel's question, I think it started off as a connection, but due to what he did this season, it propelled it to it being both. Because nobody expected to do what he did this year. Nobody called that out. Nobody knew that was going to happen.
Right.
Everybody thought he was just a nice, steady, consistent guy that plays his role and stuff like that. And he showed something completely different at the playoffs last season and at the end of the season as well.
Yeah. Pistons signed Knox. Yeah, I saw that.
Wow. Moving on up.
Hey, listen, once again, I don't know where Kevin Knox fits in with those Pistons. Pistons got a lot of good players, or a lot of young players that they're going to be highlighting and giving time to. And then some of the players that were already there. I don't know how he fits, but at least he's on an NBA team getting some money, and maybe he gets an opportunity.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Ron, you can't share my screen, right?
No.
Okay, that's fine. Can I do something real quick?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, cool. Thanks. Watch this. Because if you look at the chat, there's a lot of Evan Fournier talk going on. I don't get it, yo. I do not get this Evan Fournier stuff, bro. His differential last year was amongst the league lowest at a minus 3.8 at that position with an expected win of minus 10. And his defensive numbers at points, opponent's points per possession, and effective field goal, the opponent's effective field goal was top, I think, 5 or 6 lowest at his position, bro. And he played over 2,300 minutes. Okay, Evan Fournier did shoot 39% for 3 off 7.5 attempts. But Quentin Grimes shot 38% on 4. And he plays way better defense, and he has a much better potential for shot creation ability, especially what we saw in Summer League. Why is this even a discussion, bro?
Oh.
And the thing that look, listen, the Knicks record, that's fantastic, bro. But that goes to show you the lack of proficiency that we've had in our three-point shooting over these years in order to do that. If I was to bring Luke Kennard here, if I was to bring Duncan Robinson, if Steve Novak would have gotten more looks like they do today and stuff like that, I'm pretty sure they would have broken that record too. So what? What the hell does that matter about him being able to play both sides of the floor? You saw him last year. You saw how slow-footed he was. Okay, his weak side was terrible. His closeouts were terrible, and he's a year older this year. I think he's 31 this year, if I'm not mistaken. Wow. Right? And you think that's going to get better?
No.
And I wouldn't go ahead and bring in a guy that's in his second year at 22 years old that could already play that side of the floor and could possibly bring that same potency at the three-point line and is able to create and is able to operate in the pick and roll. You would have that sitting on the bench. That don't make no sense.
Makes no sense.
So,
yeah, I mean that's a very interesting that you brought that up, and that's true. That I think that you got to make the moves that can get you better overall. I think the problem with Fournier is not that he can still play in the league. He can still be a very good asset for a team. The current way that this Knicks team is constructed, it makes more sense for him to be on a team that just needs a three-point type specialist, a guy who can get them those shots, and he's very good at that. This team itself needs a little bit more than that in order to start, improving and getting to the next level of what they're trying to do throughout the league. They need a little bit more. Now, if he's going to be here, he's going to be here, and you got to, hope for the best. But I do agree that I think that now is when the Knicks need to make those type of hard decisions and say that while this guy did this for us and put up some really nice numbers, and does he fit the need of what we're trying to do going forward? What else we need? More defense. If we do bring in, Donovan Mitchell or anybody else, who knows? I mean, Donovan Mitchell is the guy right now. What if the Knicks pivot? What if this Donovan Mitchell trade goes away? We never talk about it again. And the Knicks come back and say, we want to bring in Colin Sexton. I'm sure not everybody's going to be happy with it, but Colin Sexton is also a small guard too. And you have the same situation, a willing defender, but not a great defender.
Yeah.
He's willing. He makes really crazy faces when he's getting into it. He's clapping the ground. He's getting hype. Doesn't mean he still wouldn't get cooked on defense. So I'm just saying, like, you're still going to be you could still be in the same situation if you decide to bring in another guy who can help the team out, but is undersized. And that's where, unfortunately, Fournier just doesn't fit the bill as to what this current Knicks team needs overall. He's a specialist player at this point in his career. He's not the Evan Fournier that came in the league years and years ago. And I'm taking nothing away from Evan Fournier when he came into the league. If you guys don't know, you should go back and look at some of them old Denver Nugget videos. Evan Fournier was a pretty interesting player, man. He could do some things out there, surprising. Yeah. But he's removed from that. He's not the same guy. So
just ask Miami how that Duncan Robinson situation is going for them, because it's around the same lines.
It is. Duncan Robinson is in a similar situation. He's making good money, and he is a one-trick pony for the most part. And even that, he was struggling shooting the three. Now, that's in my case, I would say Evan was a notch above him there, because Duncan had moments where he wasn't even shooting the three well. Like, come on, man. That's tough. But
you did see that when Evan was off, it was done.
Oh, yeah.
There Evan's not on, else.
It's a problem. It's definitely a problem. I will agree with that.
And that's something like, when you get players growing up and stuff like that, like, you always teach them to be impactful in different aspects of the court. So, if I've never really been a big fan of one-trick ponies, and if I did acquire one on my roster, they would definitely be bench players most of the time, because or special circumstances. Like, for example, it just depends on matchups and stuff like that. And if I could utilize him or her in that way, that's fine. But it would never be like a full-time starter type of thing like that. Not ever.
Yeah, that's true. Shout out to Parrish Duggar. Appreciate the super chat once again. Thank you. He said, if Mitchell comes here, it's doomsday for RJ, because Brunson, Donovan, Randle will be the primary shot takers, followed by Quickly, who controls the ball. That's not far-fetched. That's something that could happen. That's kind of where RJ was to start the season. He was in that limbo to start this past season. Remember, you had Julius coming off the most improved season. He was the proverbial number one option at that point. Then you decided to bring in Kemba Walker, and you were treating him like he was the number two. And then you brought in Evan Fournier and basically treated him like he's the number three. So where did RJ fit? Even though RJ's ball usage has always been high, and you could see that he, was always being in a position to get shot opportunities. But the flip side of that is RJ also knows he's welcoming two NBA veteran type players into the system. He's going to try to acquiesce and get these guys incorporated, and then he'll fall in line. And that's what the Knicks had him doing. So you make him the fourth option. And we saw how that worked. Didn't work too good. They got up to a nice hot start, but then once the NBA started catching up to speed, and you need to get into your regular sets, and teams are playing defense the right way, and we're into the real flow of NBA basketball, that's when you notice that it starts to become a problem. And you're right in the fact that, Parrish, that this could be an issue as well if they bring in Donovan. However, we're talking about Brunson, Randle, and Donovan Mitchell, as opposed to Randle, Kemba Walker, and Evan Fournier. So even if RJ does take a little bit of a backseat, I think that's going to be a positive for him, because I think he won't be forcing the issue. I think he'll pick his spots and his moments. He'll become more efficient. And I think the team overall will be better because of the fact that the type of players you're mentioning are all better than the type of players you had collectively last year. But I see that you could still run into the same problem. It could hurt RJ a little bit. And if RJ's not strong mentally, he could run into a rut if he doesn't feel like he's being used or being a good part of the offense. It's a balancing game. We'll see how it works if that happens. But I see your point. I don't know how you feel about that, D.
Pete also he responded and said, well, you could put Randle under that chopping block as well. And he's 100% right about that, because Donovan's ball usage was at 30. Jalen's would have to be like around 30 and stuff like that. That's 60%, and that's 40% you're going to have to allocate to the rest of the guys. So there could be nights where Randle may be phased out a bit, just like RJ would. So something to think about.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's very true. Shout out to okay, shout out to Alan Alford. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you for the generous super chat. I'm glad it's working for you. I know you had a problem the other time trying to do it, so everything hopefully is good to go. But thank you once again. And he said Randle trade should go down, Spider or not. That's actually very interesting point. Maybe you're right. Maybe in the end, the best thing for the Knicks to do is to move on from Julius Randle. But I will say that if nothing else is happening right now, it does make sense to give Randle another shot to see what he can do, what if he can turn it around. Because if he's trying to make the effort, if he's working on his body, if he's working on his game, if he's seeing a psychologist, if he's doing all these things, that means he wants to get better. You don't want to throw people away, man. You know, we're in a tough world right now. A lot of things going on. And as much as I want my Knicks team to succeed, they succeed because of the coach, but they also succeed because of the players. The players have to go out there and execute, and you want to show that you can believe in the players. Think of how much better the NBA will look at and the rest of the players will look at the Knicks organization, knowing that Julius Randle has had some ups and downs, had a tough year last year, has been going through a lot of stuff that other players might go through as well. Maybe they handle it differently, and the Knicks stood by him and gave him a shot to redeem himself and get things right. It looks better. It shows that you believe in the players. Now, if it don't work, you do have to make the decision. You got to move on. You don't want to draw it out too long. If it's not looking good, you got to make a move quickly before it spirals out of control, and then you lose value for a player like him, and you can't move him the way you want to. But I just think they got to give it a shot and see what happens, unless you're bringing in Donovan and there's other issues going on there, because there's been reports that Andy alluded to on NBK and Nothing But Knicks about the fact that if Donovan comes here, that the Knicks might have to move Julius because there might be something there. I don't know if that's true. I'm not going to get into it because I don't have enough information about it, but there's a possibility. And the last time I believed in what Mark Stein had to say, turns out he might have been just joking. But Mark Stein was one of those who put it out there. Other people have put it out there. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm not sure. And shout out to Alan Alford once again. You definitely found the super chat thing is working. Appreciate you, brother. He said we would have gotten D Murray for a lot less. DeJounte Murray. Yeah, if San Antonio wanted to deal with us, yes, we could have got him for a lot less. And if DeJounte Murray wanted to come to the Knicks like that for real, that he had a little bit of a say in it. But, he's acting like he wanted to go to Atlanta, like that's where he wanted to be. So, I'll take him for what it is. It might be, player speak right now, like just saying the right things. But I'm also just really curious as to why that whole mix didn't really work out in San Antonio. And there's been some stuff that's come out that said that the DeJounte Murray fit wasn't as good as it looked. Who knows, man? Who knows what happens behind the scenes? I know San Antonio is really good for the most part at staying very quiet and keeping things internal. Well, if you think about it with the Kawhi Leonard stuff, you never knew what was going on with Kawhi Leonard because of San Antonio. They didn't tell you anything. Kawhi was the one who was upset, who came out talking about how he was getting poor information or misinformation in regards to how they were handling his injury. And that's when he decided to go get his own trainers and do his own stuff because he felt they were mismanaging it, and it was keeping him out of playing basketball because they weren't doing the right things by him. And that's when he went public. But if it wasn't for him, we probably wouldn't have even known about it. So San Antonio keeps things close to the chest.
Good point. And plus, I think there's a business issue there as well.
Yeah, I don't doubt that. I think you're right about that. Shout out to Diamond Rag Girls. Yeah, Diamond. I'm gonna go Diamond. Shout out to Diamond. Appreciate you.
I'm sorry, Ron. Before you get into that, I gotta get out of here.
No
thank you for having me on, bro. Appreciate it.
Thank you for being here, bro. I'm actually about to wrap up in a little bit too. I got something I got to do, so I was kind of making sure I try to keep at the 11 o'clock spot so I can get some stuff out.
No. I hear you. Yeah, especially with the weekend and stuff like that with the family. You know, it's always busy.
I hear you, bro. I hear you, man. Thank you for being here as always, D.
Yeah.
Appreciate you. D's World of Hoops, aka D the Observer. Check him out. Are you going on tomorrow at 12?
Okay, so I was just going to say I'm going to be on tomorrow at 12. There's a whole bunch of stuff to actually talk about that's around the NBA. So if you guys, we could talk some Knicks too, of course, if you guys want. But there was some interesting things that came out this week. I definitely want to chop up with you guys. So I'll be on tomorrow at 12 for that. And plus also too, I'm going to be dropping these college freshmen recruits coming in and stuff like that and breaking down the game and stuff like that. So that's stuff for you guys, especially when the season comes around. That's already going to be there, so you guys can check that out. Besides for now, I'm gravy. Thank you, Ron. I appreciate you.
No problem, brother. Thank you. Have a great show tomorrow. If I can make it, I will. I'm gonna tune in, and if I can jump on, I'll jump on. Okay,
appreciate that, bro. Whole family, take care. Chat, take care. Without you guys, we wouldn't be here. Everybody have a great week.
Thank you, brother. Shout out to Lou Memorabilia in the building. Appreciate you. Interesting question. He said, do you think Olympic France Fournier put pressure on the Knicks to sign the normal role player Fournier to the bag? That's an interesting question because, you know, at the time, Fournier did play good in the Olympics, right? And you know, I wouldn't be surprised if that had something to do with it. I think the other thing that had something to do with it too, shout out to Josh, the Knicks as well as other NBA teams have a salary threshold that they have to meet in order to do business. That going forward, you have to meet a certain amount of salary given. I don't know what the number was off the top of my head, but the Knicks were under that. And so bringing in Kemba and bringing in Fournier allowed them to meet that salary threshold. So I think that has something to do with it. And I also think that, you know, the fact that Fournier did look good in the Olympics at that time helped. It's almost like the Jerome James situation where Jerome James had a good playoff series, nice little run, and the Knicks gave him the bag the next year around, which was a horrible mistake. That was horrible because we got nothing from Jerome James. I would say we got a lot more from Evan Fournier than we ever got from Jerome James, if you ask me. So just looking at it like that, but I see where you're going, Lou Memorabilia. That could be very true. Very true. Let me see here. Thanks, Miguel P. Appreciate you, brother. You take it easy, man. I'm still rocking for a little bit before I get out of here. Thanks again for the generous super chat, Alan. Appreciate you, man. Like I said, you don't feel like you have to do that. I know sometimes it gets tough. The more people we get into the chat, we can't get to everybody's thoughts and what questions you might have, but we try our best. But thank you for doing that. I definitely appreciate it. True, he says, true, but Randle trade chemistry plus salary relief plus part-time for Cam and Obi. Oh, playing time. Sorry. True, but Randle trade chemistry plus salary relief plus playing time for Cam and Obi. I know this chat 3 making up to support y'all. Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate it, man. So he's saying he put these 3 super chats in to make up for before. Yeah, nah, don't worry about it, brother. We appreciate you, man. Thank you as always. Just you guys being here. And rocking with me is a big help. And hit that like button, guys. Hit that like button because that is a big help. Hit that like button because the YouTube algorithms like to see it. And, you know, quite honestly, the more likes you guys give the show, that's how the show pops up on YouTube and other people get to find it. Because, you know, the subscribers are great, and I love that you guys are here. I really just want the reach. I want people, you know, to see what we got going on in the Knick community and to support. There's a lot of Knick fans out there that, you know, just don't really watch some of the stuff that goes on YouTube, and they're really locked into the mainstream media, ESPN, and these other places. That's where they see their content. So we want them to be able to see the content on YouTube too. We do a good job here, I think. For the most part, everybody's trying hard to give you guys the best content we can, even in this tough time where there's not a lot of stuff to talk about in relation to the Knicks. We're trying our best to give something so that you guys still have a great place to come to get your thoughts out, and to, you know, just to hear more dialogue about our favorite team. So hopefully you guys you know, are enjoying the show and the content and continue to rock with us. I thank you for always being here and supporting, man. You guys are truly great. Can't tell you how important this is and how great it makes me feel. Hopefully some of y'all got to see the show we recently did on Dope Soul Sports Talk. It was about content creators and are we the new ESPN, or are, you know, is what we do give you that same type of value where you don't necessarily have to go to mainstream media to find out about your favorite team. And sometimes maybe we give you perspectives that are more inclusive of us all as fans that maybe the mainstream places don't give you. So definitely check that out. That's Dope Soul Sports Talk with Steph, the Queen, on YouTube. She had a lot of great podcasters on. You know, she had Uncle Freezy from Blorange Tears, Hard Will from the For the Love of the Game podcast. Check that out. She had Sim, the Podfather from Nothing But Knicks, Tony Crow from Knicks and Bruises, myself, I was there. She also had Eru from Die Hard Knicks in the building. I think it was a really good show, and it was nice to hear everybody's stories about what they do with their channel, where they see their channel going, what they're looking for, and how they got started and involved with the you know, being Knicks YouTubers. So I think it's pretty cool. If you haven't seen it, definitely check that out. Let's see. So Geraldine says that show was fire. She enjoyed it. Great. Thanks. I'm glad you had a good time watching it. I felt I was a little long-winded, but you know, I was trying to get my story out as quick as I could. But yeah, man, I wanted to give people props for helping us out, man. Ashley Inc. says, I don't believe that the Knicks had to overpay for Fournier. I think they overvalued him and got desperate with the season about to start without any free agent signings. That has something to do with it too, Ashley. I think that it's a combination of that. It's a combination of what they saw from how he played. It's not like they had to have him, but they saw, okay, this guy played really well, and we could use him. But I also think that Josh was really right in the fact that the Knicks needed to hit that threshold. So they needed to spend certain money. And at the time, some of the other options that the Knicks had on the radar fell through. We definitely know that nothing always works out the way you'd like it to. So I think they did what they thought they could do at the time. And then the Kemba Walker thing kind of fell in their lap. So they was hoping that would be something that worked out, but it obviously didn't work out the way they planned. That was tough. That's a shame, especially with a hometown guy and I know he was really excited to play for the Knicks, but we got him at the wrong time. And you know what? Let's look at it from the flip side. Let's look at it a different way. Kemba, you had a shot to come to the Knicks a long time ago, but you didn't kind of think the Knicks were ready. So who do you have to blame but yourself? Maybe if you would have came to us when your game was, you know, at a higher level, you could have helped turn this team around, and taken one. You know, that's the thing that I I wish more of these hometown guys would do. If you're a Knicks fan, grew up a Knicks fan, and you still rock with the Knicks, even though you're a player that's somewhere else, you know, how about you sacrifice and say, you know what, let me come to the Knicks and help turn that team around. Let's get back into winning. And that's why I like the fact that Donovan does want to come here, even though he's not very vocal about it. That's not a knock on him. He's just that type of way, and he doesn't want to rock the boat. But people know, insiders know that Donovan would like to be a Knick. So whether it happens or not, don't know. We'll see. There was something I had that I wanted to put up that I did want to talk about before I get out of here. And I don't want to forget what it was. What was it? Oh, yeah. I wanted to get into the Knicks roster, right? Yeah, that's what it was. Because we had said before, we talked about it, that how is the playing time going to be for these Knicks players? What do they do? How does Thibodeau distribute the minutes? And that's saying a lot, because you guys know that Thibodeau is, he's not the greatest at getting minutes to people. You know, we've seen how frustrating this can be. Let me see here. Let me see if I can get this up. I think that looks okay. Hopefully y'all can see that. So I'm going to just drop this down in a second, and then I'll put it up on the screen so you guys can see what I'm looking at. Just bear with me, guys. But yeah, man, hopefully you guys are going to be getting into something interesting and fun for the rest of the day. I don't know how the weather is over here. I think we're in the 80s. It looks like it was sunny. I don't know what the forecast is, but if you can get out there and enjoy your day, by all means do so, man. We got to take advantage. This world is crazy. There's a lot of stuff going on. We still got COVID situations. We got monkeypox. It's like, what else, man? What else? Jeez, it's always something. New York Knicks roster. Okay, so this and this. All right. And the other thing that I wanted to bring up real quick, you guys notice that did you guys notice that the NBA teams that you think are going to be the contenders for the rest of the year, you don't hear anything coming from those teams, right? You don't hear any negative press coming out of Miami and the Milwaukee's and all. Like, where's the negative press for those teams, right? And this is why I keep bringing up, I understand that, teams like the Knicks, because of certain things, Charlotte, whatever, they earn their negative press. But Charlotte's a different story. They have a lot of stuff that's happened, okay, that's outside of basketball that it's negative. You have to address it with the Brittany Griner stuff that happened with PJ Washington, with the stuff that happened with Montrezl Harrell being caught with all that other stuff, with the stuff that's happened with Miles Bridges and the domestic stuff. Okay, that's understandable. They made themselves news, right? But the Knicks haven't been doing any of that stuff. Why are they always the brunt of the brunt of everybody's jokes? Why are they always the back page story for laughs? And also, the mainstream media, why is that always the case? Why can't we just continue to improve and work on our team and hopefully put a better product out there? Why does this always have to be a thing? I'm just curious. I don't understand why it continues to happen. I don't get it. Hold on one second. Shout out to Neville Humphreys. Thank you for the generous super chat. I appreciate you. He says the Detroit Pistons are using the same strategy that Dallas has been using. Dallas has shown that our ex-players can help build a winning culture. And that is not far-fetched. That's a fact, brother. Now, I don't know if Kevin Knox is going to be able to make an impact for Detroit, because with all the players that they got over there, and they do have two of our players that I think will definitely help. I think, say what you will about Nerlens Noel. When Nerlens Noel is healthy, he provides something. He's got butterfingers, but other than that, he provides something that they'll benefit from. Alec Burks will be a great addition to that Detroit team. As long as you don't ask him to play point guard for you, have him as the off guard and maybe even the small forward at times, Alec Burks is going to get busy over there. Detroit is going to be an interesting team. They got to watch out for them. They're going to be an interesting team to watch. So I'm definitely excited to watch them. I'm a Knicks fan, but I'm not a hater of other teams. I'll watch and see what they're doing, and I support, our Knicks players. Once a Knicks, always a Knicks. So I'm going to be following to see what they do. It's only right. Let's see here. So we'll see. I'm about to get into this roster, and you guys tell me how you think this is going to work out for the Knicks and these players, because I am a little bit concerned. Let's see. Sorry, guys, bear with me. It's uploaded. I just decided to put this together real quick right now. And thank you once again, Neville Humphreys. Appreciate that. Sherwin says Charlotte has a lot of replacements for Miles Bridges. Yeah, that may be the case. I think they'll be okay. They should be fine. All right. So if you look at the current Knicks roster, R.J. Barrett, Jalen Brunson, Evan Fournier, Quentin Grimes, Isaiah Hartenstein. I'm going to skip the two that are highlighted right there behind each other. Miles McBride, Emmanuel Quickley, Julius Randle, Cam Reddish, Mitchell Robinson, Derrick Rose, Jericho Sims, and Obi Toppin. Now, Farron Hunt and Trevor Keels have been signed to two-way deals currently, but you don't necessarily want to count them as a part of the roster because they may not be. You can start the season with both of them on the G League squad, and so you still have those two spots you have to fill. But if we look at it right now, let's say the starting lineup will be Jalen Brunson. I know people don't want to hear this, but let's say the starting lineup will be Jalen Brunson, Evan Fournier, R.J. Barrett, Julius Randle, and Mitchell Robinson. I think that will be the starting lineup to start. Whether or not RJ plays the 2 or the 3, don't know. But I think that's what it's going to be, guys. And I know you guys may be like, why? But Thibodeau is a creature of habit. And most likely he's going to try something to see if it works before he changes it. And he very well could change it. But I could see him definitely starting with that lineup to start the season. And then maybe he'll make a change later. Maybe Evan drops down to the bench and he promotes Grimes or something like that. We'll see. So let's say that's what it is. Jalen, Evan, RJ, Julius, and Mitch, right? And so your bench, if Derrick Rose is healthy, I would assume that Derrick Rose is the first point guard off the bench. Guys, what do you think? Am I wrong in thinking that? A healthy Derrick Rose, don't you think he still gets put above IQ in the rotation? Because remember when last time Derrick Rose was really healthy for us, he helped us get to that 4th seed. He was a big part of that. So and he's a Thibodeau guy. So I would assume that Derrick Rose is the first person off the bench at the point guard spot. Then at the shooting guard spot, I would assume it's going to be Quentin Grimes, right? and he's 6'5", so I'm assuming he'd be the shooting guard. Cam Reddish, even though he also could play the shooting guard, I would think you put him at the small forward, and he becomes your 3. Then at the 4, I mean, there's not a question there. You would think is if Obi's on the team, Obi's the 4, right? And then at the 5, even though Jericho looked great in the summer league at moments, and he's improving, you signed Isaiah Hartenstein to a 2-year, $8 million per deal, $16 million. So Hartenstein was most likely your backup center. So that's 10 right there. You know, Thibodeau likes to play 8 or 9 guys, and I just mentioned 10 right there. So I mentioned those 10, and we didn't even talk about Emmanuel Quickly, Miles McBride, and Jericho Sims. So, guys, what do you guys think? How does this all work? How do the Knicks and Tom Thibodeau find playing time? Forget Jericho will play spot minutes here and there. People will get hurt or you know, foul trouble, different things. He'll be in there moments, but how do you find playing time for a guy like IQ who deserves to get good minutes? Who does he play over? If you got a healthy Derrick Rose, you know Derrick Rose is going to get between 10 and 15 minutes, I would think. Jalen Brunson is going to play a lot. Where does IQ fit into that? You might cut Evan Fournier's minutes. Maybe Evan Fournier starts, but he doesn't play a lot. Maybe he plays 20 minutes or something like that. And then you're able to give Quentin Grimes some minutes, and you're also able to use IQ in spots. But somebody's not going to get the amount of minutes you would think. Cam is another guy who needs minutes. Cam, you know, in this situation, do you cut back on what minutes you could give Cam? I don't know. This is interesting. And this is where you run into the problem. Like when you look at it like this, you start to see that this could be a little bit of an issue still with figuring out how Tibbs can allocate the minutes to get these guys the proper playing time so that they could be useful and effective for us. And yeah, so let me take this down. And thank you guys. Appreciate it. And shout out to Keith Turner. Thank you for giving me that heads up, brother. And see, this is what I'm talking about. See, you try your best to do something, and still you run into these problems. I don't get it. Keith was telling me that my internet was going in and out. The stream, was going up and down. Thank you for giving me that heads up. And that's something I got to deal with them about. But yeah, I'm definitely going. One of the things I got to do is after this, I'm heading over to Spectrum to turn in my old router and get the new one that can handle a little bit more bandwidth or whatever it's called, so that I can get what I'm paying for. But it's just crazy. I just upped the bandwidth, up the megabytes, and yet I'm still running into these drops. It doesn't make any sense. So there might be a bigger issue that I need them to come out and take a look at in regards to my area, what we got going on. Thank you guys, man. I thank you for rocking with me. I know it's crazy. I don't know. You try your best, and still you got to deal with certain things. Sherwin says, still Knicks fans, we all know you are a big Obi fan. Tell us, what is the quality that makes him a good player? Well, let's look at it like this. If you give Julius Randle 10 3-point shots and you give Obi 10 3-point shots, do you know who's going to have a better percentage? And I'm not saying give me the answer. I'm saying, do you know? Because you don't know. Julius might hit 5 or 6 of those threes. He might hit 4 of the threes. We don't know. You give Obi the same opportunities. He might hit 5. He might hit 6. He might hit 4. We don't know. But when we saw it down the stretch, it doesn't matter who the team is that you're playing. The point is you got to hit the shot. Obi was knocking down 5 or 6 threes, taking 10 attempts. He was doing that stuff because he got more comfortable and he got more usage. He got more attempts. Give him that stuff, you might see a better product. Another thing that makes Obi a good player. He's not great. He's still got a lot to learn. His willingness to work on his game, to improve, and to out hustle those around him. If you remember when Obi got drafted, one of the first things he said when they talked to him is about practice is he says he loves practice. He loves the drills. He wants to even succeed at being the first to complete the drills and have the best scores in the drills. That's a guy who has a good work ethic. I go back to when he, came into the league and going into the summer league, we saw that he got featured. The Knicks made him a focal point of the offense, and he was having some good scoring nights to the point in the summer league where he finished top 10 in the scoring and was all, he made it first all summer league team, blah, blah, blah. I know this is summer league. I get it, but I'm saying the point is that was a goal. That's what he did, and that's what he wound up doing. Then from the summer league, he left the summer league and came straight to Westchester in New York and started working out and doing what he has to do with quickly. Instead of having a fun summer, they were working. You like to see that. You like to see a guy who is working and trying to do some things in his game. The stuff that I just showed earlier with him doing some pickup stuff and running around, dribbling between his legs, behind his back, and doing stuff against these guys, he's not just doing that right there. He's working on it. So that's why he can try to play around and do that stuff against these pickup guys and see how it looks. Because he's working on his handle. You got to give Obi credit for working to get better and trying. And then you reward that credit by giving Obi minutes to see what he can do out there. That's all I'm saying. And I feel like if you give Obi 25 to 30 minutes, he doesn't have to have 30 minutes, but I'm saying 25 minutes, you're going to see Obi produce. More times than not, you're going to see Obi do something that affects, good things on the team. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying Obi is some, incredible basketball player. I just think that Obi can be something for the team if you give him the minutes. That's it. We know his defense is horrible, but can he get better? Yeah, he's got athleticism. And if you put him in the right spots, if he works on his footwork, if he understands, sometimes it's about knowing where to be and anticipating what a guy is going to do and knowing when you need help. You got a guy who's cooking you to the right. Okay. Well, let your teammates know, like, this guy seems to be going right on me a lot. He's quick. He's catching me off guard. So when I do this, I'm a hedge. Can you do this? Help me out here and blah, blah, blah. It's just understanding basketball. It's a thinking man's game. What else? Let me see. That's a good point, our future media. He said, I love Rose, but he has to be traded. Otherwise, Cam or Grimes going to lose minutes. And that is the real reason why I think there's been moments where people are talking about that Rose might have to be traded because of the fact that, I just went through the lineup. Where's the minutes? Yeah. Where is the minutes? Well, all right, guys. So I'm going to get out of here and try to go look into this whole internet situation because I'm seeing this thing going up and down and I'm not loving it. But I thank you guys for being with me, and I appreciate you guys tuning in as always, supporting the show and rocking with me. And, thank you guys as always for everything you guys do and put in the chat, the stuff that you guys are thinking about. It's spurring conversation. It makes for an entertaining show and allows us to continue to think about stuff that we can talk about. And as Knicks fans, we should be thinking about. So thank you guys for doing all of that and appreciate you. Shout out to Kevin Taylor. Let me just bring that. As far as point guards were concerned, I wanted Javon Quinley from Alabama. However, he sustained a torn ACL and did not get drafted. I thought he would be the next Derrick Rose. Interesting. That's an interesting point. Yeah, Javon's, he has some special talent, but that did hurt him. I didn't know much about him. I just heard about him in passing, but I saw a little bit. And yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, well, we'll definitely talk about more of this stuff going forward. But thank you guys for being here. Hey, it's a beautiful Saturday afternoon. No matter where you are, whatever you're doing, have fun, enjoy yourselves, enjoy your friends, families, and hope to see you on the next one. And guys, tune into the Monday night show. Once again, I'm telling you guys ahead of time, listen, I'm a Knicks fan, I'm a Met fan, I'm a Giant fan. Okay, I love my 3 teams. Monday night show, we're gonna have Chris, aka the Entertainer, talking sports. You know, he has a big Giant, podcast. He's just went to Giant training camp, took a look at them, seen how they were doing. I want to pick his brain on that, see how they're looking. So Monday's show, we're going to talk about the Knicks because Chris is a big Knicks fan too. He also does some Knicks spots. He runs Nick watch-alongs as well as other things on his show, but he talks Giants too. So we're going to talk Giants, we're going to talk Knicks, and he's a Met fan, but we're not going to talk too much Mets, but we're definitely going to be talking Giants and Knicks. So if you're interested, guys, Monday night at 9 p.m. Still Knicks Fans, the weekly, we'll be getting into that with Chris, aka the Entertainer, talking sports. It should be a fun show. Tune into that. As we always like to say, in the Knicks off season, you're going to see us do a lot of interviews. We love, talking to different people and trying to bring you guys different things, different perspectives. When the season starts, it's less interviews and more of us just chopping it up and talking about our Knicks team. So that's the 2 seasons of Still Knicks Fans. Hopefully you guys enjoy it, man. Take it easy. Enjoy the rest of your day, and stay blessed, stay healthy, and be safe out there, man. Monkeypox and all that stuff going on out there. It's wild times. All right. Y'all take it easy. I'll catch you on the next one. I'm out of here.